You don't have March though, do you?
No, but I've got Kiernan.
Yeah, but he's got
Kiernan doesn't do what the captain does, though, I'm afraid.
yeah, he's got.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 52 of the Gollum's Gamers podcast, where today we're back with another GBHL 100 preview episode. This time we'll be covering the Battle of Unnumbered Tears, which is a 1,000 points event happening this weekend. Someone is blowing very loudly into their microphone. Is that Ali King?
I think it is Ali.
It's
He's out of
Ali,
breath.
mate.
He's just sat down.
That's Darth Vader has entered the call. But
Blow on
Unnumbered Tears is one of my favourites for sure every year, as it usually has some unique and interesting rules, which we'll cover in just a moment. But for the Spotify listener, tonight I'm joined by Sam, Vince, Ash, Ali, and Jay. And as always, you can find us on Instagram and Spotify by following the links in the description down below. But before we get underway tonight, I did just want to give a special thanks to anyone who joined me a couple of weeks ago at the Lord of the Imps live stream that I did.
Yeah, no worries.
I think it went very well overall. So I just wanted to give a really big shout out to anyone who stopped by the stream at any point over the weekend. The streams are up on the channel if anyone wanted to go and watch them. The next one I'll be doing will be at the GBHL League finale in December. So as we get close to the time, obviously there'll be announcements and things to do with that. But that'll be happening at the end of the year. But circling back to Unnumbered Tears then, we'll get started by looking at some information about the events. So the rounds at Unnumbered Tears are 2 hours and 30 minutes long, and they do have a 10-minute deployment time, which I think is pretty good as well. There are certain scenarios which are banned from the event. So those are Command the Battlefield, Seize the Prize, Recon, Contest Champions, Clash by Moonlight, and Capture and Control. So none of those will be played. The remaining 12 scenarios will be put into one pool, which will be randomly rolled from for the event. So you could play, say, Command the Battlefield and Whole Ground. So you could get multiple Maelstrom.
Couldn't play Command the Battlefield because it's not there.
Didn't I say Whole Ground? Oh, I meant Whole Ground, sorry. Whole Ground and
Heirlooms of beasts.
heirlooms. There we go. I'm like, what's the other Maelstrom scenario? So there is a 5 model minimum and a 100 model maximum at the event. There is a boost as well to your army leader's magic resistance. Now, does anyone know roughly how this works quickly off the top of their head? Anyone?
Oh yeah, Sam, take it away.
So it's basically after all form of resisting, i.e., using your will, has concluded, and you haven't resisted the spell, you get 1 dice, and it's only on your leader, obviously. So you get 1 dice that you can't might, and if it's a 6, that's it. You just resist the spell, and no other spells can be targeted on that model for the rest of the turn.
So, if you're a mega Chad, what you do is you take, say you're playing a 3 Wraith or, I don't know, double, triple caster. You go, yeah, I'll let you cast your first spell, Steadfast Determination 6. And then all of a sudden, your hero can't be magicked anymore.
Is
So
it
that would be good.
only
If anyone
the
does that
first
at the
time?
event,
No,
leave
you
a
can do
comment.
it. You can do it per spell. However, if it goes off on the first one, then no other spells affect the model that you have, i.e., your leader.
Our previous spell was also ignored.
No.
I don't think so. I think
No.
it just says that you can't cast any further spells.
Yeah, it's not like Renew.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm unsure. I actually don't know the wording for the rule that well.
I'm pretty
No,
certain
last year,
that's not
last
the
year it
case.
wasn't. Last year it didn't affect any
No,
previous spells.
I think you just count as having resisted it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also as well, do you have
Yeah.
to roll to try and resist to then
No.
get to roll? No. So if you
No,
don't
if you have
use
will,
it,
you can still
No.
do it.
you just get the free. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can just say, I'm not going to use will, and then just roll the 6.
Yeah. Natural 6. Yeah. Okay. So
Or if you have will, you can still do it. Like you've
That's
used all your
all.
will. Okay, I guess I have just 1 steadfast determination roll.
yeah. So that's
Or
what
it would-
everyone's leader throughout the event. So that's pretty nice at 1,000 points because obviously there's lots of magic. So they're just trying to counteract that. Now moving on to so only legendary legions or pure armies will be allowed at the event. So all alliances have been banned. So no green, yellow, or red, obviously either. So just pure or legendary legions. Now adding on to that, each list can add 2 pieces of Wargear to your list from a huge list of Wargear, but you can only do that if it's a pure faction. So for that reason, the vast majority of lists at the event are just pure factions, so just pure Moria or whatever it is, just a single faction, because obviously everyone wants to add 2 pieces of Wargear, and there's some pretty spicy pieces of Wargear. So any comments on any of that about the alliances being banned or anything? Because obviously, like last year, for example, we saw lots of soup with all kinds of crazy alliances. Jay actually won the event last year, so what do we think alliances being banned?
I think one thing to add is that one of the pieces of Wargear you can take is the ring, and the ring table's not being used this event. So
Yeah, that's
there's
pretty
no
big.
someone has it and someone doesn't. Everyone has the ring if you take the ring, basically.
Yeah. So just what do we think on alliances being banned? Compared to last year, I quite liked how it was last year, but obviously we did see the meta, defined, didn't we, on the top tables?
It's more interesting because it's 1,000 points. Because most of the time people don't have a 1,000-point army, and so they will combine some armies together to get that extra 300 points or whatever it is. So
I think it's a really good change.
It means everyone's going to play the game like I do, pretty much.
The meta at 1,000 points is obviously just so soupy. I mean, Jay, do you want to run through what you won the event with last time, just so people kind of
everyone could go and check our preview from last year if they want to
there
see a
you go.
breakdown of his list. Very lemon.
But if anyone's too lazy though, so last year I took
you're stealing those views away from Eliott.
Yeah, that was the play there.
So I took Galadriel as the leader, and she had a full warband of the Lothlorien. I think it was pretty much 4 Galadriel with shield. I think 4 Galadriel court, a couple of wood elves, 1 sentinel, and I think that was pretty much it. Probably about 12 or 13 models in her warband. Then I had Legolas with I think half a dozen elves in his warband. That's from the Thranduil's Halls faction. And then I also had Gwaihir as a single drop, and then Boromir with the banner, shield, horse, and then he had, I can't remember how many, I think it might have been 15 Fountain Court, and it was about 39 models, and that was it.
So a big flying scary monster, magic, high fight value,
shooting,
So
high fight value.
basically,
blinding light, you got everything.
what happens is you just pick all the best tools and super into 1,000 points.
Yeah.
Whereas
everyone
now,
did.
whereas now you have to kind of pick and choose the advantages of said pure faction. So it's definitely made the list building more
Which you can
difficult.
also influence with the item list.
Yes,
I don't know if you mentioned it, Eliott, as well, but the Iron Hills Chariot is the hero one is banned along with the Signal Tower.
There we go.
So if anyone wonders why no one's taken those, like that'll be the reason why.
Yeah.
It's a very popular choices, right?
What if you
Well,
take the Signal Tower with Narsil? Does every one of the Gundabad troops on it get Narsil or something?
Well, so this is why I think it's partly banned. And then I think the Iron Hills Chariot is banned because Michael Bradford took it last year and gave Ed a massive headache with FAQ rules, query questions, all event.
Oh, and there'll be even more this year. How does the Iron Hills Chariot interact with the ring? Good question. Here's a 20-minute conversation at the end of the game to figure that out.
How does the Iron Hills Chariot interact with the ring if Floy is on the board?
His head would explode. So anyway, speaking about the pieces of Wargear, let's move on then to look at some of the statistics for the Wargear. For the Spotify listener, the number 1 ranked piece of Wargear that was taken by over 40 lists was Narsil. So that is Elendil's sword. That gives him the +1 to wound and the free heroic combat. In second place, we have the Staff of Power with just under 25 appearances, where you get a 3 point of will every turn to cast with. In third place, we have Ash's favourite, the Crown of Morgul, with just under 20 appearances. And then after that, we have the Ring with not as many appearances than I think maybe people were expecting to see. I think that's like 8 appearances there. Then after that, we have things like Anduril, so Aragorn sword with the wounding on 4s, the Light of Eärendil for blinding light, and then numerous other things like the Circlet of Kings, Mithril Coat, the Stone Flail, and so on. So initial reactions to this, over half of the event taking Narsil in their list.
A quick point, not every piece of Wargear is available. So for example, although you can get Thranduil's Circle of Kings, you can't get his additional sword.
Yeah. So there's a big
Wargear
list.
upgrade.
I'll leave the link to the
So just
event
like
pack.
if you're
Yeah.
thinking, oh, why didn't someone take this piece of war gear? That would be incredibly epic. That's why they didn't, because it just wasn't on the list.
Yeah. Eliott, is any of the list we're looking at got the stone flail in?
No.
Cool, because I think it is worth mentioning that
Oh, I
if
had a
you
good
give a
idea.
model the stone flail, it will make your fight value fight 6.
Yeah.
So if you have someone like Nori, for example, who's normally fight 5, or the Golden King who's fight 4, and they're
Or
both burly or weapons master,
Goroth, who's
Yeah,
usually
or Goroth.
5/4.
they would actually go up to fight 6. So
I
that
did
may be what a
see.
couple of those people do. It was an
I
idea
did-
that I was toying with for one
Yeah,
of my
I
lists.
saw one that had Nori. I think it was the Champions of Erebor, like all of them, and then yeah, they
Oh,
give
that is gross.
Nori the
Yeah.
stone flail. I'm pretty sure, and like, I think Dwalin Narsil or something.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
just
pretty
surprised
epic.
that actually, I don't know how many people are going to the event, but about 20 people haven't taken Narsil, if I'm
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
What are those people taking who are not taking Narsil? I don't know. The South
Yeah,
Power.
Narsil just is the best piece of Wargear in the game. Like, there's no question.
So what do we think about things like the Staff of Power, the Crown, the Ring? Were we expecting to see more of the ring? I think some people were, maybe.
No, I think most people who would want to play the game properly and competitively weren't going to take the ring. Obviously, I know a few people on our team have maybe taken it, but
it's also the bad ring.
Whoa.
Like, as in, because it's the ring where you, on a 1-2, your opponent controls you.
Bad ring.
If you could have taken Bilbo's ring, I think that number would probably have doubled.
Oh,
yeah, agreed.
Everyone would take that, and Narsil, they'd be the 2.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still the 4th most popular Wargear, so it's not like it's not.
Yeah.
There is a significant fall drop.
Yeah, it's just very skewed by Narsil, really.
I think the Staff of Power is really interesting because there's lots and lots and lots of variations you can do, I'm sure, as Eliott's going to show us. But just giving a person or like any character a free will point every turn affects lots of different stuff, because some characters don't just use will for magic. You can use it for, as we might see with Mr. King over here, other epic and incredibly cursed abilities that you may have.
If you think about it, the ring's actually a good counter to Narsil.
Yeah.
But what happens if you got both? Find out later.
Exactly.
You win every practice game. That's what happens.
I really want to know who's got the Arkenstone. I really hope it's someone like with rerollable fate or something like that.
It's got to be the Necromancer, right?
Yeah.
Necromancer, Legendary Legion, take the Arkenstone.
No, actually, would it work on the Necromancer?
Counts as fate, so I guess so.
Because
I think it says that you can spend your,
but it's not a fate point, because that's why it doesn't count towards Laws of Battle.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't think it would work with a Necromancer.
So hopefully they haven't, because they maybe have sorely disappointed.
Very sad.
Yeah, I'm going to put the ring on with Smaug.
Okay, mate.
What's
I want to know
betting?
who's taking Shadowfax as well.
Yeah, I rate the shadow fact.
Something epic.
Oh, that one's Will reviewed that on his Patreon article. It's the White Council, and they've given Gladriel Shadowfax, I think.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
pretty epic.
Oh.
I was thinking just along Ali's lines of doing something really cool, Vincent, like this. What you do is you get the Gorbinator and you put him on Shadowfax. And then when he charges 2 models, he becomes 4 attacks on the charge.
At that point,
You're right, I do fucking love that.
For 60 points.
That's fine. For 60 points, the Gorbinator becomes an absolute goat.
Actually, to be fair,
at that point, I actually give him Narsil as well, right? Why not?
You give him Narsil.
Why not?
Go back doing bits.
Oh,
Right,
that'd be epic.
we will leave it there for the Wargear statistics for the event, and we will move on to the faction statistics for the event. So,
Whoa!
these Spotify listeners, in the top spot for this event, we have 8 Morias.
Now that is a surprise.
Ever seen that on one of our GBHL 100 previews ever? But yes, Moria in the top spot. Then in second place we have Minas Tirith with 7 appearances. In joint third place we have Dol Guldur, along with Mordor, with 6 appearances. Then in joint third place now we have Barad-dûr and Rivendell. Then after that we have factions like Erebor Reclaimed, Angmar, Easterlings, and Lothlorien. So initial takeaways from the faction review.
I got it right. I said Moria would be really popular because it's easy to chuck in these big monsters that no one normally gets to use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whack up the points
And
and people
Barad-dûr as
enjoy
well.
it.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, there's a wolf pack of Angmar.
I know.
Now
I was
that
wondering
is
how long it would take you
fucking
to
cold.
I do have the list actually.
Just tell us how many Warg chieftains are in it and how many models. That's all we need to know.
Yeah, sure.
Can I just say, I do love the fact there's at least 4 legendary 5 legendary, 6. So I'm good.
Yeah.
So
no
6
Wargear.
legendary
Keep
legions.
practicing your numbers tonight, mate.
No Wargear for those lists. Yeah.
Or I'm quite interested in the Raddy's Alliance one because I half thought about that. Maybe like quite a counterplay, but
I actually have that right here. So what do you think the Raddy's Alliance list is?
I really hope they've given Raddy the crown.
No. So they've given
Has he given him a Staff of Power back?
So it's Raddy, Bjorn, and Gwahir.
Okay.
With 5 eagles. They've given Gwahir Narsil and Bjorn the Shield of Cirith Ungol.
Oh, so he still gets knocked down.
Oh,
Okay.
that's pretty clever.
Yeah. What was I going to check? The Wolfpack list. Okay, right. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wild chieftains, and then like 60 wild wargs.
Oh my goodness.
I was expecting more chieftains, to be honest with you.
Yeah, 6. Yeah.
I think Dol Guldur being at 6 is quite interesting to me.
Is that all necromancers?
Yeah, I do have. I've got one list here that's the Legendary Legion, and they've given like Kamal, Narsil, and then the next.
Well, it can't be the Legendary
Yeah,
Legion.
it's not
is it?
Legion.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure. And they give the necromancer, I think, the crown. I think.
Well, as second time already plugging him, but Will on his review of that
Will
list.
Champions.
The only reason Ali's hyping this
Narsil,
up is because Will said that your list is good, mate.
Oh yeah, well, us old timers got to stick together. But,
Ali responds very well to gas.
Giving Kamal a weapon which is Master Forge suddenly makes him like the best Wraith, arguably, out of in the Dol Guldur.
Go from the worst to the best.
Not. No.
Yeah, I'm not surprised with Moria, Minas Tirith. Dol Guldur, I'm surprised being third, but then like Mordor, I'm not surprised with because it's just really easy to. A lot of people
thought there would be a few more Erebor Reclaimed.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I don't know why there's not. Yeah,
Daron, I'm not surprised with. Rivendell, I'm not surprised with. Maybe
Defenders of the Shire, ladies and gentlemen.
It is 100 models. It is VMAX.
Do you know? Okay, we're gonna get on some top tips, viewers. Like, play your turns quickly. 100 hobbits you're gonna get like 2 turns, and then they're gonna deploy 18 models on one piece of war gear, and you're gonna lose.
We were saying about Mordor, though. I mean, maybe a little bit surprising considering last year there was hardly any evil lists on like the higher tables. Was there?
You can soup it though. You could soup last year, and not this year.
When you're forced to pure, Mordor has everything in it.
Sure.
Like, and also if you think there's going to be lots of rings running around, having ring race is quite
having the race is the only way to counter that.
Yeah, I do agree though. Yeah, I was expecting maybe more Erebor Reclaims, and I think like 2 of them are full champions lists anyway. So only like a couple spam.
Because I didn't take it because I thought it was going to be pretty common and too basic for my liking. But
I thought maybe like 6 of them or something. Yeah, sort of in the 3rd or 4th spot.
Return of the King, like that's got to be pushing 50, 60 ghosts. Some of these lists are going to be grind hell, and you're going to just.
The Arnor, I think, is like 73 models.
Yeah.
With all the heroes.
6 ballista assault on Helm's Deep with 4 bombs.
There's a Fangorn there where I'm pretty sure they've given Treebeard the Mirror of Galadriel, I think. And then
that's so cursed.
They've given Quick Beam Narsil.
You have to kill Treebeard in one, otherwise you just repeatedly never kill it.
They should have given him the Arkenstone as well.
Just for good measure. Yeah.
I was thinking about sort of unkillable heroes. Treebeard with the mirror is probably one of them, right?
Well,
Unless you charge
any
it
of the
with
Elven Ring Bearers with the Arkenstone would just be
And Mythal
ridiculous.
Coat.
Oh yeah, actually, Galadriel, you could give because she can just buy the mirror, give her the Arkenstone, and then you're just like there going, "Come at me."
Or
unless you get charged by Gulliver, who then wounds you on twos,
And
rerolling
then
ones.
and then you heroic
It's got the
defense.
ring on.
So any other thoughts from the faction breakdown before we move on?
Farhad's
genuinely
going to be
can't believe
hilarious as
tomorrow.
well. How much money did that army cost at 1,000 points? Farhad.
how many blowpipes in that Farhad army?
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. I think we'll leave it there then for the faction breakdown. So we'll move on to having a look at the leaders. So no surprises here to the top spot. This time, the Witch King of Angmar is yet again in first place with 7 appearances. Then in second place with 6 appearances, we have the Necromancer. Then in third place, we have Sauron. So a very evil top 3 there with, lots of appearances. In joint fourth place, we have Durbers and Thorin. Then in joint fourth place, we have the Balrog, Boromir, the Dragon Emperor, Gandalf the White, Gil-galad, and Galadriel. So any takeaways from the...
Is that Thorin champion of Erebor?
Yes, sorry, I just didn't want to...
Having 6 necromancers is really quite cool.
It was predictable after we had 6 Dol like
True. But I just mean just to see 2 new factions on really up there in the leaders and the army lists.
I can't remember the last time I saw the Undying taken, and the fact there's 2 leaders. What Wargear does this piece? What Wargear does this man have?
Undying's going to have a Staff of Power.
Yeah, he's just gonna. It's so interesting to have it as your leader.
I mean,
I guess he is
quite hard to kill.
Yeah, what else do you have in that list?
Well, because you don't need the Witch King if you're giving someone the Crown of Morgul. So if you want 2 raves, you could go for I think you could go to Shadow Lord with the Crown of Morgul, and then he's almost the Witch King anyway.
Or you just take the Witch King and then you have a...
Yeah.
But if you're saying you're limited, but if you're limited to you want 2 race and you want 2 of the abilities, because the Witch King doesn't have an ability, he's just great.
You lose a strike though, is the thing.
I'm not saying I agree with it. That's just
the logic. Devil's advocate.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of Saurons there. I can't remember last time we saw 11 Saurons, obviously with the Necromancer as well.
Durbers rocking 4 people taking him. That is pretty hard.
So is Sauron actually a good shout, do you think?
I mean, it's the best shout you're going to get with him when you give him the fucking Narsil, isn't it? And whatever.
It's just because you're going to have so many things that can actually kill him because of all of the Narsils and other weapons running around.
Yeah.
It just depends how well you can resist, because if you're going to get magic, the last thing you want is your 400-point model just being transfixed by, I don't know, the mouth of Sauron or someone.
Sauron getting transfixed to the mouth of Sauron.
Yeah.
You just hope that they've given him magic protection. I don't know, with the Helm of the Dragon Emperor, but he's already got resistance to magic. Only having that 1 dice.
Does he have resistance to magic?
He has resistance to magic naturally.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
I haven't played him in donkeys yet.
Maybe giving Sauron Narsil and the Staff of Power then makes him okay, you've got resistance to magic and a 3-point of will to resist, and he also already gets a 3-point of will, I think.
Sauron's issue is he's only 4 attacks and he's movement 6.
Well,
that's his problem.
Yeah,
he's not actually that reliable.
Yeah.
Durin's Axe would give him a reroll, potentially.
I mean, you're still better off going for the 3 heroic combats, probably.
Yeah.
It's hard, isn't it? 4 attacks without a banner just is whiffable territory.
That's tough. The fact as well that there's still 3 emperors, even though there's no legendary legion, is interesting. We'll be having a look at one of the emperor lists a little bit later on. But
Easterlings are just so good.
No, there's no Emperor Legion, but obviously, yeah, the Emperor himself has just kind of changed the Easterling list sort of as a whole. Any other comments on the leaders before we start looking at some lists? No?
I'm okay. Surprised with the top 3, I don't think.
No. Let's move on then to having a look at some of the lists. Now, we are starting off with a Lothlorien list. So this is a 52 model pure Lothlorien list, which is led by Galadriel, who's leading 5 warriors with shield, 1 with Baron Spear, 1 knight with bow and shield, 2 guards of the Galadriel court, 2 wood elf warriors with bow and spear, and a wood elf sentinel. Then we have Haldir, Orifin, and Brumil, the 3 brothers, leading very similar warbands of exactly what I just read out, with knights, more guard of the Galadriel court, lots of bows. So there's 17 bows in total for the Loth list, which obviously with elf using is just pretty crazy. 12 might. And then for the Wargear, they have decided to give the Crown of Morgul to Galadriel, which is obviously very themey, of course. And then Narsil to Orifin. So he's already obviously insanely good at just blending through troops, and obviously now he has +1 to wound and a free heroic combat. So what do we think on this Loth list?
I think it's important to mention there's 2 banners as well in the list.
Sorry. Yes, Mr.
The 2 banners is big. I'm happy to open the discussion to start with. Me and Sam actually play tested this a couple of nights ago versus my Mordor list, and it's pretty scary. It's pretty scary. The trouble that Sam found using it is that it's only being strength 3 everywhere. I'm sure you've got the 3 heroes, but it's hard to actually chop through D6 troops if you don't, especially D7. If you're like chucking Rommel and Haldir in, you just need to roll a lot of 6s. The next discussion was around whether or not having the crown on Galadriel is like the right choice. I think the ability to cast much more reliably with her, very, very good. And to resist better with her, very, very good. However, if maybe Galadriel had the Circlet of Kings, for example, you would be able to have that 1-turn knockdown, have, more importantly, Awe of Dismay, which then means your 52 elves can team up more effectively and roll more 6s. So that ended in a 3-3 draw, by the way, in Lords. So, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of what we thought.
For me, I think Lothlorien, in theory, are one of the strongest armies at this event. But this isn't how I would build the list.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of wasted like, say you weren't able to take any additional gear, building the list this way is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I personally would have gone for Celeborn and given him Narsil.
Staff. Not staff.
And a Staff of Power.
So you've got a double caster.
Yeah, you got a double caster, like a double mobilize, and you've also got Celeborn, who's a very reliable, even on foot, troop blender at that point. And you save 5 points because you don't have to buy him a sword. So
would you not put them on mounts? Would you not find Celeborn?
He's Lord of the West anyway. And you're better off taking the Staff of Power.
Yeah.
I'd probably have done that instead of like possibly taking Rommel. Or as Ash said, it's there going, you're relying on rolling 6s, which I mean is a very elf thing.
Lots of banner helps winning the fights, but I just think the Circlet of Kings is a missed opportunity.
Yeah, and so I went back and forth about Circlet of Kings at the event, and it's there going, if you assume there's going to be quite a lot of Angmar and Mordor, or like Necromancers and Saurons, Sap Will is going to be around, so you may not actually get that much benefit from it. And also
having it on Galadriel, but also the magic and 1 free dice,
What was it? But also Erebor Reclaimed and Minas Tirith means there's going to be a lot of bodyguard and auto-passing courage, along with possibly Shamans for Moria and things like that. So it's actually, other than the 3-inch knockdown, how much benefit are you going to get in real terms from the Terror Bubble?
I think that is a big sort of, having the knockdown for a strength 3 army is, the big sort of bonus, right? To get the troops killing.
But at 1,000 points, it's actually a small segment of the list. Yeah. Like, as in the enemy battle line. It's not like it is when it's at 700 points.
It's
What it does have though is it's got a caster, it's got anti-shooting, it's got very good shooting. It has fight 6 models to like spear supports to be a pain in the arse to the
Three
other
fight
enemy
6
big
heroes.
52 models and 2 banners.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
and I think the average model count I got told was about 42 models.
Yeah.
So this is an elite army with 10 above the average model count.
yeah,
Very
and
elite.
17 bows. If you didn't have shooting protection, this list is going to shoot you to pieces.
Yeah. So I still think it's very good. It's just not. I don't think it's quite optimized.
Something that
at
is,
least how I would have done it.
yeah, something to note is quite a few scenarios which March is good for have been removed, kind of like seize the prize, recon and stuff. However, there are a few in there which it is very good for. You divide and conquer, hold ground. And although you have 2.5 hours, this list won't kill too well. And if someone just sits on the objective and you don't get unbelievably lucky just killing everything you touch, you most likely just lose because sometimes the round timers are quite tight. Like when you're moving, so if people are moving 50, 60 models each, then you're going through turns of killing and you don't kill because you need 6s and then you do it
the
again.
actual rolling of the dice in the combat phase compared to like 40 model lists when there's 55 is huge difference.
This list is going to struggle if an opponent marches onto objectives before them, which is not good because when you're shooting with a list like this, you want to shoot for a bit, whittle down the numbers, and then make your play. But you just will not have time to do that.
And Orphan isn't enough. He's not the biggest killer. Like he can just get held up by someone with strike.
Well, that
one resistant to magic.
Or transfix. Like 50% of the time he's doing nothing. Even
they're
with
all very
resistance.
compellable heroes, and then they die because they're all D6.
The crown on Gladio just feels like I don't know what to do. Like you may as well. You could have done anything else really. You could have made Romil Killia or like.
I'll be intrigued to see. Yeah, I'll be intrigued to see if this person maybe loses a game because they don't have March.
If like an Emperor list, drums to the center or something.
Yeah, that's game over already. You're not killing the Emperor.
No.
I was going to say something. Completely forgot.
I thought you were about to say something, and then okay. Any final comments on this one before we move on?
I mean, in defense of the crown, it does make Galadriel much more reliable at casting, and also it makes her very, very difficult to magic. So I guess you can kind of guarantee that you're going to be able to cast a spell.
We have sort of, ripped on her numerous times over the years now about how she's unreliable. This solves that issue.
It really, I mean, you get a free will point to resist. Like you get a free will point every turn, so you can resist spells, and you've got resistance to magic, and you get to re-roll a resist. So
sounds weird. Do you think you may have been better off just going for a Staff of Power on it, and then you get 2 free dice to turn no matter what?
Yeah,
I mean, you don't get the extra attacks, but the extra attacks are a bit like
you don't need. There's no contest anyway.
Yeah, and also like she's still -1 to win combat, so it's not.
Just give her Andoril.
Actually, if you gave her a Staff of Power, she wouldn't be unarmed anymore either.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Through
attack, you've got a fight 6 hero that can do damage.
More fight 6 heroes.
I think you're right. I think the Staff would have been better
because it just gives you more flexibility in what you want to do.
Yeah. It's true. If they don't have any magic, you just use 2 dice every time, 2 free ones.
Yeah, and then you've essentially got the reroll anyway.
Yeah,
Galadriel, the troop muncher, not a arc I was expecting to see for her. Okay, well, I think we'll leave it there for the Lothlorien list, and we will move on to a Moria list. So this is one of the 8 Morias, I think it was 8, that are going to the event. So it is led by Durbers, who's leading 5 Goblins with Shield, 5 with Shield Spear, 2 Prowlers, and a Bat Swarm. Then we have Groblog leading 5 with Shield, 5 with Shield Spear, and 2 Prowlers. We have a Dragon with Breathe, Fire, and Fly leading 6 with Shield, 6 with Shield Spear, 2 Prowlers, and a Bat Swarm. And then we have 3 Moria Black Shield Shamans leading almost identical warbands of 2 with Shield, 3 with Healed Spear, and 1 Prowler, but I think one of them doesn't have the Prowler. So 3 Black Shield Shaman warbands there. So it's 62 models, 0 bows, although there's a number of Prowlers there with the throwing weapons, and 12 might. Now, in terms of the war gear, they have given the Dragon a Staff of Power, and also one of those Moria Black Shield Shamans the Staff of Power. So what do we think on this one?
I think Vince can explain what a dragon does because he went and researched that earlier.
You were doing some.
Yeah, I looked at this list and it's actually quite scary. Like, obviously you don't see the dragon a lot because it's really expensive, and breathe fire and fly sounds good, but when you've only got 3 will, you can do it max 3 turns a game. Doesn't sound very good, but with the Staff of Power, that might end up being quite problematic. Yeah, so it's a 12-inch bow. He hits on 2, so if he flies 6 inches, he can shoot on a 3-up at 12-inch range. And every one that's within 2 inches of the target, take a strength 10 hit as well. And heroes just instantly die if they fail their fate.
Yeah.
It's pretty nasty, actually. So we were discussing what you should do against it, and in general, you should just spread the fuck out. And if you've got blinding light, maybe keep your heroes near that bubble around the blinding light.
That would probably be a good idea.
Keep your troops away, just 2 inches apart, more than 2 inches away from each other.
The dragon does do the thing of it goes above fight 6, so it goes to fight 7, and so he can just insta beat and kill a lot of the fight 6 heroes who are probably going to run around and be scary. Because other than probably Gulliver, it's probably the highest damage output in the game with knockdown at strength 7 for attacks.
Can you imagine at 1,000 points what the board is going to look like? Just all your models just spread out on the board.
You're going to really struggle to spread out on a 4x4 as well. That's the thing.
You're going to run out of space.
You can't put all your troops fucking 2 inches apart. You just can't.
So,
go ahead,
so one of the one big weakness of a dragon usually is its low courage and its demand on will. So you want the will for the fly, but also you need it for the courage test because he's only courage 4. So having the Staff of Power not only means that you can breathe fire, but also if you do take a stray wound, it can help you keep around a little bit more because you're essentially, you could argue your base courage 5 at that point, which is a big chance of sticking around a lot more.
You've still sort of got the same issue with the dragon though, where obviously that is just kind of lingering the whole time. You're sure you're courage 5, but then you've got to think, I've got to kind of keep might, ready for this, and so.
Well, luckily you can keep your will now because it was there going so he is D7, like 7 wounds. So it's there going, well, hopefully I shouldn't take that many wounds.
Yeah.
So maybe it's you have to pass 2 courage tests a game is what you're hoping.
Yeah.
Which you should be able to pass with your free will and the Staff of Power.
And interestingly, the the worm tongue upgrade, which gives him a 3-point of will turn, it actually specifies under that rule that you cannot use that for courage, right? You can only use it for the spells, whereas the Staff of Power, you can use it for the courage test if you wanted to.
I think looking at the preview or the breakdown for the lists, I think this doesn't like a lot of the ones that are frequently seen, because Sauron just doing a wound to the dragon and it's the Harbinger, that's not good. Survival instincts.
I think it's Ancient Evil actually, not Harbinger with Sauron.
I knew that.
I may have got that wrong, to be honest.
Actually, yes, true that. But all the Necromancers, all the Saurons, all the Witch Kings, the Triple Wraith, you're -1. You're probably it's 3s to Black Dart. If you're D8, maybe 4s, you're looking a bit better. But 3s to Black Dart is always annoying. Then I think it will
triple drain courage.
Wait,
if you Black Dart. No.
Oh yeah.
If the dragon breathes fire on Sauron,
does
it just lose all its wounds and then you just take the fate?
Yes.
So I think it drops down to 1 wound automatically.
Is Sauron D10?
Yeah, 80-10.
Yeah.
So
So
he may have to think of where it's half wounds.
Yeah.
is that how it works? It's not a siege weapon,
No,
though.
no, I think
No,
I think
if
it
you're
just loses all.
defense 10,
No, I thought it was if you have 10
No.
wounds, not D10.
It's 10 wounds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
is it 10 wounds? Is it not both?
10
I
wounds.
Yeah,
can't
no,
see.
it's both. It's
No,
10
no, no, no.
wounds or defense 10, but doesn't that only
Okay.
apply to siege weapons?
Yeah, Vince
No.
is right. He just loses all his wounds, but will stay on one
Yeah, I
wound
think
because of
to
the
be
ring.
fired, he just loses all his wounds, and you have to roll 2 up to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so you can break basically, like as in
Yeah,
against
that's
the Battledores.
that's pretty fucking good against that one.
No,
But
my
how
only
one
problem-
outranges you.
Yeah.
So
So I quite like the list. I think it's there to mess up everyone's special war gear and special things that people are taking. But there's only one real big threat, which is the dragon. And with all the prevalence of magic, I think the dragon's just going to be immobilized, transfix, whatever, out of the game. And then I don't think the model count's high enough. Like I think the 52 model Loth army we just saw, I think comfortably beats this. Just because the troops will just absolutely melt through these troops.
Blinding light really helps.
Exactly. Yeah.
we haven't really mentioned about the Black Shield Shaman having a Staff of Power for unlimited tremors or shatters will be quite funny, and
It
we're
will
in a
be
couple
funny.
of people's days. But yeah, no, as you said, same issue as the previous list in the sense of it doesn't have killing power in the troops. 62 models is high, but I don't know if it's high enough. It will depend on what it comes up against, really.
Mm.
Yeah, those goblins need to stay
agreed.
alive, really.
If I don't know, like for example, the list we looked at last time, taking 17 elf shots at this a turn, and you just take
Oh.
as back damage a 6 to hit using brief fire. You could kill so many of these guys with shooting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, this list will just get wrecked by Lothlorien. That Lothlorien
Two
list.
turns of that.
But I also don't think that Lothlorien list is a standard example, sort of, because
No,
it's a
that's
high
true.
model count elite horde with very good shooting.
Insane shooting.
Yeah,
Would you bother shooting the goblins, or would you shoot the dragon?
shoot the
yes.
goblins.
Yeah,
17
Goblins
shots at
are
the
what will
dragon.
actually win the objectives, and also once you break them, the dragon's having to take at least one courage test per turn, even if you don't wound them.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good point.
Any closing thoughts on this list before we move on?
One more question to put to everyone.
On.
Do we think maybe the dragon should have been the leader just for the special ability of rolling a 6
that's
to
quite
resist?
clever.
Resist.
No, because you can just protect your leader points with Durbaz hiding at the back and going, I'm a 12-inch stand fast.
Yep, I agree with that. Just wanted to know what you guys thought. Yeah.
Was advocate there, Jay. I like it. Okay, we will move on from this Moria list and start looking at some of our lists. And we are going to kick things off, Jay. I'm going to be handing back over to you with mine and Jay's lists. We are taking very similar lists, so they are both on the screen now for our viewers. So, Jay, would you like to run through yours on the left there, and then we can kind of talk about the differences afterwards?
Yeah, of course. So I've got Gandalf the White with Shadowfax as my leader. He's got all the warbands are pretty much similar. He's got 8 Phantom Court with shield, 5 Rangers with spear, 1 Knight with shield, and then 1 Warrior Minister with no upgrades. Second warband is Boromir, Capture the White Tower with horse and shield there, I should say. And he's got 8 Phantom Court with shield, 5 Rangers with Gondor with spear, 1 Knight. And then finally I've got one of the new heroes, Aina, Last King of Gondor with Armored Horse and Lance. He's got 8 Phantom Court and 4 Rangers of Gondor. And I actually can't remember how many models it is, Eliott.
Yours is 44.
44 models.
Yeah. So to recap then, so mine on the right is only 42 models. The differences are that I have fit in Madril as well. So I've got the 4th hero. Jay has we've got the same amount of knights. I've got more sort of Tin Can Warriors of Minas Tirith. So I've got like 11 of them, I think, to Jay's 1. So he's got way more Fountain Court. He's got 24 to my 12, so literally twice as many. So 24 Fountain Court and still got the 44 models. But obviously I've got in Madril as well for the March and the Maelstrom rule. But other than that, we both have Boromir and Gandalf. Talking about the war gear then, so we both also have given Gandalf the crown and Narsil to Boromir. So we both have White 7 hero running around 6 points of might to heroic combat through lots of stuff. Hopefully it's very hero heavy. So what do we think about these two?
24 guard is pretty insane.
That is
To be
crazy.
fair, those D7 bodyguard fight 5 boys are not dying anytime soon.
I mean, this is one of the lists I expected. Like,
Yeah,
because it's one, fun to make Gandalf the White actually good.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
he's now worth his points once you give him 3 attacks and rerolls to his casting. Boromir with flag is always Boromir, isn't he? So, like, he's pretty good.
Nothing stopping Boromir
Um,
with 6 points of
and
might.
and especially when you can still give him the +1 to wound and 3 heroic combats, it's just like, eh.
Because you don't even have to spend the might to, combat and start churning. You're
You're
only
both,
having to spend it.
I
you know,
would,
you're both
I would
incredibly themey
counter.
as well.
It is definitely themey. There are 2 things that can stop Boromir. 1, the ring, and 2, flying monsters that hurl into his combats.
And 3 magic.
I mean, he's going to have fortified spirit, so I kind of ruled magic out because he's got 6
Fortified
might and
Spirit.
2
Yeah.
Because we
dice to
all know
resist.
that isn't a guarantee.
Yes,
A
yes, for
channel
sure.
fought by spirit is way better.
Yeah,
Mm. But are you going to do channeled on him?
Yes, you
you
are
definitely do
channeling.
chat. Yeah,
Or
yeah.
yes,
Are you going to do it on Gandalf as well?
probably not. You
Probably
can just
not
do it
because you've
on
got the
Gandalf.
crown to
So you just
reroll
sat through
resist.
Gandalf instead.
Yeah, but that's still too. That's a lot of resources to get through.
Yeah, I just want to say. But yeah, I mean, it's just pretty solid all around as a list.
I
I,
think it just depends if Maelstrom comes up, whose list is better. If we play both heirlooms and hold ground, Eliott's list is better because Madjo in those scenarios will save you if it'll just make you have to spend literally no might. Whereas if J rolls bad, he could be spending lots and lots of might, and then it could become iffy. However, I think Jay's list is better if we don't play any Maelstrom scenarios.
Here's a question. How much of a combat role do you think Gandalf will have, considering he is actually 3 attacks, 5/5, strength 5?
Not very much, I think.
No, probably not. Because you don't want to risk that 50-50 roll off him to then
Yeah.
get charged and not be able
He's
to
just
cast.
there to cast every turn
So
without
are
flag
Lively.
and
Are
sort of
you then
cast
in a
everything.
similar boat as Lothlorien is, in that you're really
Yeah.
relying on Boromir and Erna to do all of the killing?
But
And
that is a much
mm,
safer bucket to be in than asking Haldir and
oh yeah, but you're also 10 models less, and you don't have fight
Don't have
6
fight 6.
and the
spearsmen
line
and
is just
Elven
nice as
blades.
well. 'Cause you've got a lot of rangers and stuff, and it's only 5/5
Yeah,
within range of Boromir. No
yeah.
fights.
But as in, it's quite similar, but it's more resilient in some. I don't know whether it hits slightly harder, but it's lower model count.
Yeah, I think it's
Uh,
less resilient, if anything. Like you sort of need the heroes to really do their work, and if they don't, like if you get held, for example, like you've got to be so careful. Like you said, actually, sort of monsters are going to be
My
can't really stop it.
Because as soon as
My
Erna loses his horse, he's not actually that great
He's
either.
not really doing
Agreed.
anything.
Yeah, agreed.
and that's where fortified spirit can help a little bit, but again, you can't spend
I
might
mean,
on
he
those
can just lose
resists.
combat and lose a
He
horse.
just
Yeah.
lose combat, lose. What was I going to say? Yeah, Boromir with Narsil as well could be. You'd have to be careful because obviously he's your 6-inch banner. So if you charge into a guy, combat, and then like steam on into the next thing, and Boromir's now away from your battle line, fight 4 guard are actually killable
Not very
because you can
good.
win the fights in roll
Yeah.
6.
Would there
So
be
you've got to.
so would there be an argument to give Erna an Narsil?
Yes, that was what I was getting
So
onto
there have
next.
been some people that have given Enna and Narsil, so you don't have to spend the points on the lance. Some people have given Boromir, Narsil, and the ring. There's been a few different variations. Just Jay and I have the same 2 pieces of Wargear.
I think
Yeah.
I think the reason I went for Boromir with Narsil, sorry, Sam, was just because of the reliability. I just don't think Aena is going to be as reliable, even with
So the 6
Narsil.
points of might, like if you're not facing a hurl or something, like if you're facing magic, you're feeling pretty good, and you've got 6 points of might, you've literally just got to spend it to up your dual rolls, really. If you fluff, and then obviously you might not even have to roll the dual roll because obviously he's got the Horn of Gondor, so you've got 6 points of might really to just up your dual rolls, and then you're killing sort of every turn.
I suppose whichever way you do it, as soon as one of them who doesn't have Narsil loses the horse, their combat threat is reduced massively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have the choice to give it to a fight 7 hero, you just do. Like
Exactly. Nothing.
Yeah.
There's no
the
fight
bump
value.
from 6 to 7 is
Mm.
actually pretty big. And
I mean, it's the way I would do it. I was just being the
yeah.
devil's advocate
And
this
it's
time.
also as well, if you're compelling out, say, like Haldir or someone, you don't then have to strike to kill them. You'll just fight 7. So
Here's a wild thing as well. Why, I think Gandalf White is the right choice, and also for this format and with the Crown of Morgul, it makes it much better. However, you're making him more reliable, but if you're not going to use him in combat, would you have been better off potentially giving in Jill and Zax?
I think these guys will both use Gandalf in
Combat more than they said.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think we might.
I think as soon as you said, I won't have
Because you're going
combat,
to
I was
need
thinking,
that extra hero.
We
I
will.
guess once
Yeah, we probably will.
you've say done you've Sorcerer's blasted this person or that person off of their horse or whatever, maybe late game you're able to get him into more
But the thing is,
combats.
on foot he is base more killy than Aerna because he's strength 5.
Yeah.
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 I think the other reason was it just means I can 1 dice fortify on all of the heroes reliably with the crown.
Yeah. Especially when you do that channel fortify as well. If you want that going off.
Oh yeah, if you're doing the channel.
Yeah.
The interesting thing actually is if you play a scenario where you stand right up close, you're going to be stuck in a conundrum of going, do you do the transfix and the Sorcerer's Blast or stuff like that you want to do?
Yeah.
Or do you spend 3
Yeah.
turns fortifying your heroes?
Yeah.
That will
think it
be
depends.
And also, if you
tactical
deploy
decision.
too close, you could get transfixed first turn yourself, and then all of a sudden you can now abuse the other heroes.
But you have to spend whatever you have to spend in order to not be transfixed first time again, so that you can fortify Boromir, because that is just priority number 1.
I personally prefer Eliott's list than this solely because of March. Again, similar with the Lothlorien. There will be a game where you're strength 3 basically everywhere, and you have your 2 heroes plus Gandalf, but you just want someone will sit in front and reject him. You won't have time. The game will run out of time and you'll lose.
It is 12 Final Court Guard versus 24.
I would be lying if I said that I felt very good about the 42 models and not being that elite.
I think, Sam, Eliott's list is what we were talking about, is actually one of the lists that you can break in the 2.5 hours because of how sort of weak it is.
So
basically, Jay's is way more reliable, but there's one or two scenarios that could trip it up.
Yeah.
So really, other than March, I don't think Magil's bringing that much.
Well, it's like if you want to call a move,
might
you doing it with Boromir, I guess.
It'll be Boromir, because Boromir will be in the best position as well, right? Think about it, he'll be central pretty much the whole game.
Who at combat?
I'm calling them with Magil first.
Yeah, of course.
It is nicer though. It is nicer to call with Magil because then Boromir can go wherever he wants.
Yeah, it gives you.
Whereas if you call with Boromir, he's not getting.
Yeah, no, anywhere. I do agree.
So if anything, if Jay's is more reliable and easier to use, and mine is harder, really, we should have taken.
We didn't say easier to use. We just said. We'll find out anyway in the rankings later which one's actually best.
We will. Okay, so we will leave the Minas Tirith lists there. That was a lovely segue from you there, Ali. And we will move on to having a look at Sam Grattan's list. I thought we would kick off with this one very early here, as this list has been the topic of quite some discussions in the Gollum's Gamers chat lately. Would you like to run through it for us, Sam?
Yeah, sure. So it's obviously led by the Witch King and for Angmar. So I'll give him 3 might, 15 will, 3 fate, got the crown, and he's on horse. Then it's 7 orcs with shield, 7 shield spear, and then a banner, shield spear, and 3 spectres. And then I've got the tainted on horse, 6 orcs with shield, 6 orcs with shield and spear, 2 spectres. The shade, so this is new shade, not the
lemon shade.
He has 5 orcs with shield, 3 with shield spear, and 3 orcs with just spear. And then Gullivar with 2 werewolves, and then a captain, no upgrades, 40 points basically from March.
Solo drop, naked captain, yeah.
And all my eggs are in one basket, as I've got Gullivar with the ring and Narsil, making him the ultimate kill, everything.
Have you noticed how Ash has walked off when you started reading?
When he talked about... Right, Sam, I'm not even going to say anything. you tell the viewers what's happened to me
There's,
these last few
there's a
weeks.
Can
reason
I just
Sam
ask you a
looks so
question first,
smug.
Sam?
No, I'm not going to. I just know that if I say, "Oh yeah, I've done well with this list in my practice games," I'm going to go 2 and 4. So I'm not going to do that. However,
Okay.
I will go on about. I think obviously it's very risky to give Gullivar, who is 200 points, no fate, the only thing that can kill a lot in this list, the ring. However, you prevent shooting against him, actually, because that's one of the main things. He can just die to shooting. As well as all good list magic becomes basically inept. Like it doesn't do anything. The shade, if you have 2 wraiths, the shade is an auto include in every Angmar list. It is so good. The the line of sight of within 6 inches of him, as well as just bumping up rolls.
Do you want to just quickly run through what the new shade actually does?
My word.
Yeah. So it's 0 might, 4 will, and then 1 fate. It's got 3 wounds. It has so you can spend a point of will in the shoot phase to basically make all models within 6 inches -1 to hit. Like if you were to hit on a 5 an orc, you then would hit the orc on a 6 because it's within 6 inches of the shade. And then if your shooting model is within 12 of the shade, so your opponent, the archer is shooting at you, then they get another -1. So it's actually -2 to hit against models in 6. And then so you can also use the shades line of sight and range for wraiths to target models. So if you're within 6 inches, um, which is very nice. And then you can also wound the shade if you're within 6 inches when casting with a wraith to bump up a roll. So I rolled a 4 to black dart. I'll wound the shade. It becomes a 5. And it basically makes the list. It already has good magic, but you outrange and you just outmagic any list in the game. It is so good, and no
Not
one
Black
can
Riders,
target the
but
shade.
yeah.
Yeah,
The
we're
thing
Question,
is,
not.
Sam.
because with the line of sight, so you can basically have your ring wraith hidden, say like
Behind the building
on the
or
other side of a house or something, have the shade out on the opposite side and sort of use it as an anchor to then use the shade's line of sight without your ring wraith having to come out. And yeah,
Genuinely, it gives the in theory at max range, it gives the wraiths basically 30 inches of threat range.
Sam, question.
Yes.
If you could take the old shade for 100 points instead of this, would you do
Um,
that? Would you take it?
Definitely.
yeah, I mean,
Minus one to win
in this
combat
format,
was
in
got
this
rid of for
format,
a
it's not very
reason.
good. Like the shade would just be transfixed over and over again in against.
they consistently just made the old shade worse and worse and worse, to be fair.
Yeah. The shade in this tournament would just be target number 1, and yeah, you'd probably just lose off that because you still at least
But
it
then
could
when you
keep
got
some
two
people.
casters, like as in, and it's
Yeah,
limited, you're not really going to, apart from Mordor, you're generally only ever going to face one caster
yeah.
in this format. So I
I
think
was yeah, I was going to say the shade is +1 courage to all orcs within 12 inches,
yeah, which is really
which
really good.
again is
That's
really
really
good.
good.
what's the range of its anti-shooting stuff?
6.
Is it so outside of 12? Is there no minus?
No, so if you're 18 inches away and you're shooting me, it's only -1 within 6 of the shade. If you're 11 inches within the shade,
So that's what I mean. As in,
Can
like,
you move
what's the range of the when it goes from -1 to -2?
12 inches.
12 inches. Cool.
So,
Uh,
moving away from the shade, as lemon as it is, though, just to circle back to Gully. So, I was going to ask, how many 1s or 2s did you roll when you had the ring on throughout your numerous practice games with Ash? How did that go when it happened?
So I've rolled what? So basically, the problem is that I played against Ash, and Ash is taking
that's
Mordor.
always a problem.
Yeah,
Because I'm good.
Ash is taking Mordor, and the ring gets very, very little benefit against Mordor when you have 3 wraiths because they can all see, they can all target him. The only person that it does affect is against Gorbag, and Ash doesn't always want Gorbag to just go into Gulliver all the time. So there's actually not a lot of reasons for me to put on the ring. When I have had the ring on, I think I've rolled a 2, but a lot of the time Ash will just charge me. I won't call a move. And that's what
It's
just
just
preventing me to.
Yeah, because then you can combat anyway. But like, I
So
just guess like when you said about the shooting, for example, like, oh, you can just put the ring on. But obviously, then there's a situation you got the ring on. Oh, I roll a 1 first turn. Okay, you can't might it, or
Can might it.
you
you can
spend
might it.
sure, but okay, do you spend 2 might, first game
Yeah.
first
or
turn,
do you end up
and then
losing a
next turn you
turn?
roll a 2.
Yeah.
It's just like there are situations where obviously if you have bad dice, it can just get really
Oh, sure. Worst case scenario, I could roll a 1, spend 2 might, roll a 1, and lose the game. Yeah, 100%. Like that's the risk I'm taking, but that's not going to happen all the time.
big risk.
No, but it could happen 2 games out of 6.
It could happen. Yeah, but
That's why it's sort of.
it's all
I guess the question is, how much are you using Gulliver's Might for anything else?
nothing. Use only for the ring.
Yeah, no, that's what I said. You hadn't
Unless you're
found a
gonna die.
situation you
Yeah.
felt like you needed it.
I've defensed once with Gulliver, and that's it. Everything else is basically.
You've spent might to win fights when you've been trapped, but
Oh yeah, or if you got a 3 high, I spent fucking 2 might as well. But
All of your years of Angmar play and using Gully have now brought you to this moment where you have to use him the
On
best
easy
you've
mode.
ever used him because he has the ring on.
I'm confident that I can use him to the top standard. I mean,
Ge-
also the werewolves are so good. Like
You
the,
painted
Using them
up
as
your
objective grabbers or
Objective
The werewolves are
grabbers.
very good.
they're just great. Objective grabbers being fight 5 is massive. And courage 5 base.
Have you used it against anything that's not Mordor yet?
Dragon Emperor.
Yeah,
Ben Haslam's
'Cause I
Dragon
was
Emperor
gonna say,
list.
because once you fight the Fountain Court Guard and the Dragon Emperor and elves, I was wondering how
They're
the
strength 5
werewolves
then.
are performing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
no,
strength 5. Yeah.
they lose the fight 5 advantage. Is what I mean. So because they are
Yeah.
only D4, they could go down quite easy in combat.
But
They're great.
Sam's not going to be charging headlong into a spear line, is he?
You clearly haven't seen Sam play.
They're great to pull out with the Spectre, have Gulliver and 2 werewolves charge 1 guy, combat for free,
Yeah.
2 werewolves again, and
Actually,
so forth.
that's a good segue. Actually, I think the 5 Deadmarsh Spectres
It's
is a low
horrendous.
key like a strong part of this list. That
Ash
Oh,
having
yeah.
flashback
Probably
right
overlooked.
now.
It's so brutal. So brutal.
And I very rarely call moves, and when people move, then you go, okay, I'll remove 5 Spear Supports, and then
Wow. Not quite 5 fist, but they've still got a courage test.
sure, like, okay, against evil lists, when say or against orcs, like they're down to 2, it's not unreasonable that you move 3
Oh,
or
no.
4.
The amount of Dol Guldur, Barad-dûr, and Mordor.
Well, Dol Guldur's
there's
probably
quite a lot.
going to be the ring
Sure,
race.
maybe not all, but there should be a lot
The
of.
main thing is you can always get where you want to be with your stuff. If you're playing a list that has to coach check, because even one of the elves is going to fail, and then you've also got 2 compels to move stuff if you really need to.
That's why if you had Celeborn, it would have been great because then you got War of Command as well. But,
Yeah, that sort of stuff is
True that.
but,
and also not usually people ally in hero banners. Cough cough me. Regular banners are so bad because you just spectre the guy behind, spectre the banner.
I mean, you can limit the likelihood of that happening, but obviously having 5 specters helps because you
And
can't.
then-
Even if your model has already passed once, you can't then respect to that. So you could keep your banner in place
But
with
you
an
can
extra 2
compel
guys
after
if
you
you
failed
want.
the spectre.
Oh yeah, that's where you then start doing that. But then you're not compelling or transfixing the enemy big scary bomb or whoever
No,
it may be.
that's totally true.
That's where it then comes down to the actual
Just
tactical sort of
The fact that
prioritization.
Gulliver with Narsil now has a 24-inch threat range every time he charges something. He then also has potentially a 30-inch threat range if you fail a Spectre. To try and bubble wrap all of your heroes at all times and then prevent those heroes from being spectered, it's so difficult. It's so difficult.
Yeah, you can't do it,
I
basically.
think that there's obviously very large weaknesses. 50 models with orcs isn't a lot. I agree. All eggs in one basket of Gulliver is very risky. I'll probably just lose a game based off him whiffing, and that's it, But some of the stuff that prevents semi mitigates that. When you have to bubble wrap every hero, it removes model count from them.
It's
Spectres remove model count. The terror,
so punishing of a mistake. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
the terror
Can you
removes.
shatter the ring?
No, you can't shatter the ring.
I
Yeah,
mean, you won't be
so.
able to see it anyway.
Yeah.
Let's not let's not
Let's not
start
get
down
into
that
that.
rabbit hole.
Uh,
Like
Yeah,
it just genuinely
it,
the
it's the same problem, but I think slightly different to half the other list is going. You've got one threat. It's the biggest threat that's going to be at the event, and it's going to do the most damage out of anything at the
but
event.
Ali's
But
list is different, and it
well, no,
doesn't have just one
I
threat.
haven't got to that yet. But I mean, but it's there going. Well, on the subject of this list, Eliott, come on, stay on topic. Is will the orcs hold up long enough?
see
And that's the question.
I know off first glance it's kind of like it's only 50 orcs. It definitely will not, but
But I mean, if it comes up against that Lothlorien list, something that Lothlorien list can kill you,
That is
Yeah.
the
and it
part.
will. And it even with the -1 to shoot, 3+ shoot value going down to a 4+, will still kill a lot before you get there. Then the question is, can Gulliver make up that difference? And that's going to come down to dice as much as
I
anything.
think Gulliver's
The
hurls
trouble
could
is-
be
Oh
devastating.
yeah, I
though.
mean, assuming people are like playing well and stuff like
With-
that, it will be just dice.
With having 5 attacks on the charge, though, it does make whiffing hard if you've got a
But
banner.
not impossible.
But not impossible.
Now you've got
I
to
think
think as well about that you can't spend the might on that as well because you got the ring. Like if it was only Narsil, then you think, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I'll just keep the might for when I fluff, and then I can combat away. But
Ash, you're telling me you've never rolled 5 ones?
Yahtzee.
yeah, come on, Ash.
The trouble is, Sam's not just gonna use the ring in like an on or off. Oh, I'm playing good. Ring is on. He's gonna use it at the right time in the right moment. So you're only gonna use the ring when you need to use it, not
Oh yeah, but
It's
it's
kinda
there
like-
going. You may find you're against lists with quite a lot of bows, and so you end up going, oh, I need to put this on turn 1, or you risk getting shot.
It's
Um,
obvious deployment.
yeah.
It's then tough. You got a long way to go.
But that's what I mean. It's going to be very much what you're facing with this list, almost more than the others.
admittedly, the amount of Mordors and Necromancers and Saurons don't really make me too happy because again they can all see Gulliver. So
Sauron's gonna like ruin Gulliver's day, I think.
yeah.
Well,
It's like-
I think we will leave it there for Sam's list, unfortunately, and we will move on from the Angmar list to looking at Ali's list. God, I should have put this one last. We'll never make it out of this podcast.
I don't know, it's pretty easy and quick to do it.
Yeah, now I made a mistake there. Anyway, Ali, would you like to run through your list for us?
So my list is the legendary and OP Kingdom of Moria, not to be confused with the Kingdom of Khazad-dûm. With the leader is Balin, son of Fundin, who's leading 3 dwarf warriors with bows, 2 Khazad guard, 3 dwarf rangers with longbow and throwing axes, and 4 Vault Warden teams. Balin also has the light of Arendiel. Probably said that wrong, but so I've got
Arendiel.
blinding light. Warband 2 is Floy Stonehand, who has 2 dwarf warriors with bow, 2 dwarf rangers with dwarf bow and throwing axes, and 4 Vault Warden teams. Then Floy has a Staff of Power as well, which we'll come on to later. And then the King's Champion is Warband number 3, so he will have 2 of his Magic Banner people, with 2 Dwarf Rangers with Dwarf Longbow and Throwing Axes, and 4 Vault Warden teams. And then Warband 4 is Gimli, son of Gloin, with another 2 Dwarf Warriors of Bow, 2 Dwarf Rangers with Dwarf Longbows and Throwing Axes, and 4 Vault Warden teams. So in summary, it's 16 Vault Warden teams, 7 Dwarf Warriors of Bow, 9, is it 9? Yeah. 9 Dwarf Rangers with Dwarf Longbow and Throwing Axes, 2 Khazad Guard, and 2 banners, basically, for a total of 56 models. And I think you've got the bow count wrong there, Eliott. It's
Oh no,
16 bows.
is it 16? Oh,
Yeah,
counting was off.
someone can't count.
Yeah.
It
There's a
may
lot
be
of
me.
bows.
I'm pretty sure it's you. But yeah, so yeah, I'll let other people talk before I then go into it.
Sorry. Yes. Who wants to kick us off?
I think you literally sit on objectives and win on time. That's basically what I'm going to say, and that's it.
Do you have
That's the summary.
March?
Moving on. Yeah, Barlin's got March.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I've got 3 points.
That
of March.
helps. That helps.
I wouldn't leave home without a March on a dwarf army.
Yeah, definitely.
I think
I
one underrated thing that people might gloss over is I think this actually outshoots quite a lot of armies.
So on the subject of shooting, I've got
Oh,
16 bows, which is quite a lot.
I was
I've
really
got
hoping we weren't going to talk about the shooting more with this list.
I've
Everybody,
got
comment down below if you love listening to hypothetical shooting wars, because
I've
we love
I've
talking about them.
Especially when Ali King is the one talking
yeah,
about it as well. Let us
I've
know.
got blinding light, so I won't be hit on sixes, and I'm dwarfs anyway, so I'm pretty resilient. However, the bit which will give me the advantage against, let's say, some Mordors with some Shadow Lords or some other lists with Light of Elendils, is Floy can turn off those special abilities. So unless if you got natural blinding light and you thought your list was safe from shooting, it may not actually be safe. Um, and so yeah, I've got a mixture of strength 3, strength 2 bows and quite a few throwing axes.
But
Which
quite a few of
should
those bows are 18-inch
18
range,
inch.
right?
Yeah. So it's not like coming up against a Assault on Helm's Deep. However, because of the combination of Blind Light and Floy, against most lists, apart from maybe elves with Blinding Light, I will outshoot them most of the time, which then means I can dictate people coming into my 16 model frontline Vault Warden shield wall,
I
which would be
guess,
quite nice.
I guess maneuverability is the only thing that I'd be worried about for you.
In what sense?
So just if somebody marches that extra inch, and then again, just having those 2 inches, you might not be able to make it back if you're fighting over, for example, I don't know, an objective in domination or trying to get to the center and hold ground first.
So yeah, it's a kind of usual classic dwarf problem. It's actually not as big an issue at 1,000 points when you've got 56 models because
Yeah,
you've got enough models to be everywhere. So
yeah,
the one thing which isn't obvious in this list, but I never got why people underestimated the Khazad-dûm or Kingdom of Moria army bonus, but the whole army rerolls once to wound,
yeah,
which
that is really nice.
nearly when like the Vault
Yeah, but
Warden teams, including the heroes, are strength 4 rerolling wounds against a D6. Like if you just got shield into shield, you will actually kill. I don't know what the actual stat is, but quite often against like whatever you're facing.
Quite often, you heard that here first, folks.
Rerolling
Yeah.
ones is
I
really,
knew if I
really,
said an
really
actual
juicy.
percentage, then people would correct me on the comments. So I was like, but you got 3
Floy
strikers as well in
or
Bartling King's Champion and
Flowy
Cloyne.
is gonna just ruin people's day,
Oh yeah.
and I think he's a really, like this is the example of using a staff of power where, oh my God, this model now becomes so, so good.
So yeah. So I partly did this because Floy is funny when you give him a star for power. I mean, it's hard to tell how effective he will be because there's a lot of questions that unfortunately the TOs are probably going to have to answer and address like during the event.
Yeah.
But in theory, you could be turning off Boromir's banner. You could be turning off like the 5
Narsil.
value, Narsil, so you don't get your 3 heroic combats and stuff like that. Like as I mentioned, you can be turning off the other people's Shadow Lords, so you can shoot them still. I'd say the weakness of this list is because there are going to be some uber killy heroes around. Is if
The D9 is
Floy's
no longer so.
yeah, so you kind of need Floy or your sort of heroes to be able to tie them up and slow them down either by striking or defense or just smart deployment.
I guess
Um,
the other thing to mention is that Floyd doesn't have any range in this ability. It's just line of sight based.
Yeah.
So if you think, oh, don't worry, guys, I'll go and just transfix him, you're probably not going to be in range.
yeah.
Yeah.
And handily, most big scary heroes are usually on a horse or like a giant model. So it's quite hard to hide them from a little dwarf line.
You can't even
Unless,
hide them when they've got the ring on because Floyd can always see them.
yeah, that's a big point. Whether or not he actually can see with the ring on or not
Let us know in the
makes
comments.
the ring.
Can see.
The TO has done a ruling on it.
Yeah, and it's
But I won't
Yeah,
actually say
yeah.
what it was, but because I'll be interested actually to see what people say, I guess. But
Yeah.
it turns out there's a bunch of rules to do with the ring, which no one's actually asked in about 5-6 years of it being there. But this event is asking all the questions.
I think another thing is that potentially there is a few scenarios where, killing heroes, i.e., assassination and stuff is still there. Um, I do like the King's Champion a lot. However, it's always annoying when you play against assassination and the Vault Warden, the Heralds are they can be targeted, and it's just like it's just that a very easy. I mean, they are D9 if you have them in all three, but they're
And they got 2 fate each.
yeah, but then you can't might the fate. They're easier than normal heroes to kill, basically. So
You've got
if
lots of
you
Narseals running around as well, but obviously in Ali's world they are turned off. So.
But yeah, no, assassination is one of my least favorite scenarios anyway. So like, just screw that scenario as far as I'm
Barlin's not the
concerned.
best leader as well. Like,
No.
at 1,000
Well,
points, he's safe,
yeah.
but
And if he's your march, you're not going to
The
have
thing
as
is,
much
I don't
might to
actually
resist and
need.
stuff.
So because some like contest was off the board now, I felt fine taking Barlin because I don't need to put him in danger anywhere.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
just keep him safe, like
Yeah,
surrounded
the
by
same
his
thing
friends.
where like, if we get lots of movement scenarios, I'll feel happy about taking Madril. If we don't get lots, then Jay and Ali, for example, are feeling good
Yeah.
about, not having as much movement. So
It's also worth
potential
mentioning he's got
for-
the priority reroll, which will probably come up at some point, but people
And the
forget about
potential
it.
for double Maelstrom is also, an interesting thing that could happen.
lurking, indeed.
That is
I
that's a
really don't mind
possibility.
Maelstrom with this list because, I mean, every warband's pretty hard on nails, to be honest. Floyd's probably the weakest warband just because he's not a killy hero.
Yeah, but if you
Yeah.
kill Floy, if you get on him, that
Oh yeah, I
would
just
be
mean is it
really
like
bad.
you do Floy first because he's got 1 might, and then you do like the other so you can use the might to come on and support if you need to.
Yeah, that's going to be important.
I-
If you can get to Floy and stop him doing his ability, now you're talking. But if you can't, then you're in big trouble.
Okay, I think we will leave it there for Alan's Kingdom of Moria list, and we will move on to whose list is less. Next, it is Vince Wong's Rivendell list. Would you like to take us through it for the Spotify listeners, Vince?
Yeah, so it's led by Gills with Narsil. No, sorry. Cloth has Narsil. Gills.
Come on,
Good
man.
start.
It's getting
Good
late. I
start.
mean, this pod has gone on forever. Gills with 9 Warriors of Shield, 1 with Elfbone Spear, 1 with Banner Shield, and 7 Kingsguard with Spear Shield. And we've got Glorf and Narsil on Asphaleth with 2 Warriors with Bow and 2 River Knights with Shield. Got Eristor with the Ring with 6 Warriors of Shield and 6 with Elf, Bow and Spear. And we've got Círdan with 3 Warriors of Shield and 3 Warriors with Elf, Bow, Spear. 44 models, 14 bows. Yeah.
Rivendell.
So the reason why I went with the Ring on Eristor is because I wanted to have a third threat. I couldn't think of anything else that would make Eristor that dangerous. Like, he's a decent hero. But giving him the Ring, I think, adds a little bit of spice to this list.
Is he
I think it's
enough
quite
of
good,
a
Vince.
threat? By the way, I actually quite like the list, but
I'm not sure Eristor with the Ring
was
IMO.
so
He's definitely a threat with the Ring.
but his killing output actually hasn't increased.
But it's like you can
You-
maneuver him
all
to
you
trap
need to do-
models.
So the
Yeah,
Ring
no.
is just a very reliable way to just take out a hero, isn't it? You don't have
So-
to rely on a strike off. You can just go in, trap a hero in that turn, and then you've got big hitters in the list. You've got Gills, you've got Glorf.
I mean,
just
for me,
trap
when you've
hero.
already got a Fight 7 and a Fight 9 model and Fight 6 Spear support, all with Elven Blaze, the
Yeah, I
Ring
know.
feels a little bit redundant. It gives you the ability to go through lines, so it's not like it's a bad option.
What
Yeah.
do you take
Having it-
instead, Ali?
Arguably, you could have taken the Helm of the Dragon Emperor from Gilgalad to give him magic resistance.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was looking at taking Rivendell, and that is what I was
Yeah.
going to do. Glorfindel with Narset, Fight 7. and then you
I
give
know
Gilgalad.
I mentioned it in our chat as well, but not that this is necessarily better. But I would have been tempted to take Gildor with a Staff of Power, and then you've got Immobilize running around, sort of to
Yeah,
help you out.
8-inch moving
Um,
rules. I think one good thing about Aristor having the ring though is that if he does fail the ring checks, you don't feel too.
oh yeah, those.
yeah.
He's 85
I don't
points.
care really.
He's
one-
safe with the ring. I think that's the way I describe it. It's a safe choice, which doesn't necessarily hurt you or I think win you games. It's a useful.
It's just something to think about, right? It's just an extra thing for. He might even be the target of magic, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It kind of distracts, just takes the heat off the rest of the heroes.
Definitely a way Vince could win a game. It's a tool to be there.
Just another tool, isn't it? Yeah.
It could come out really big.
So one interesting thing with Gilgalad actually, because of where Aegolos is a spit, if he's on foot, he's gonna so annoy other ring bearers.
No, Sam was waiting for this.
Yeah, 100%. It's such a good tactic.
Yeah, and then
you're spear
Glorfindel
supporting against Gulliver. Oh no!
And then Glorfindel's going to overcome his normal issue of not being able to actually kill stuff because his only strength 4.
See, Glorfindel with Narsil actually makes him like I think he might be the perfect choice.
Yeah, I think Glorf is the best hero in the game to have Narsil.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, there's a reason none of us were questioning that decision.
Yeah.
I just think if you were to take the helm with Gilgalad,
you've got
two. Yeah, you're feeling a lot better about putting him in combat. Where now you're sort of
The thing is, he's fight 9 naturally. You're not, even if he gets transfixed, you're not that bothered.
Oh no, but you want the killing output.
You want to put him there in combat.
But then you've got Glorf is killing and Aristor is Aristor's there.
It's just whether Glorf is enough on his own with the killing, and if you can get good return on Aristor. If the answer is yes, then it doesn't matter that much about Gilgalad. But
if you have the ring, if you hurl, even just regular magic on Asloth and Glorfindel, it doesn't do what he needs.
So this is what I'm saying. Like you're talking about magic being like bad against skills. Yes, but you can't target everything.
You can't target him. Yeah, that's a fair point.
Like you can't shut everything down, right?
Yeah, you can't shut down Glorfindel, so you just won't bother.
Oh yeah, but you will just shut down Gilgalad. Whereas if you
you just go, all my magic's going on Gilgalad.
That's why I went with the ring, because
Well, I mean, the argument is you could have gone for the ring on Gilgalad then.
I'm not the biggest fan of the ring on a 2-might hero personally.
Because I feel like we're sounding more negative on the list than we actually should do.
It's good.
Generally, if I go for it, Gilgalad's brings fight 6 guys and he's fight 9, which is good. Yeah, maybe
inclusion of Gilgalad is really, really good. Yeah.
Glorfindel was obviously great with Thingy. Aristor's solid anyway as an option. Círdan is Círdan, so you've got Blinding Light and Awe of Dismay. And then your elves with lots of shooting, which you can reroll their hits. You've not really got a weakness other than, once again, it's another list which doesn't have March.
The rerolling a hit with Rivendell means you outshoot everything with Blinding Light.
Oh yeah.
The shooting counts is really good.
Your model counts 44, which I think's fine. It's on the lower end, but
I think it's fine.
If you're comparing it to
the
Boromir lists, you're the same model count. You're kind of the same damage output.
I can double hand.
Yeah, but I was going to say, but you're also actually higher fight value, and
I think a lot of people are afraid to double hand.
Oh yeah, Luke Hilda does it all the time. He loves
it. It's actually a really good tactic. Like you start just killing things. Really,
double hand. Sorry, Annie. You double hand mostly within the range of your banner, and that is really effective because then you're fighting normally with the rest of your line. You double hand in that 3-inch bubble, and you're still getting the same sort of results.
Yeah, because if you feint double hand with a spear support and a banner, it's fine.
The thing that would have been really nice is if you could have got a second banner in this list, like the Lothlorien.
Yeah, I considered it, but then
your model count isn't quite there. Yeah, but I mean, you could go down to 42 because realistically, you could.
So I don't think. I think.
I'll add though about the you mentioned about the ring checks. Yeah, he's only got 2 might, but I really don't think you need to worry about ring checks
Oh,
because
yeah.
he basically just puts it on, and on the turn he needs to, and then you
Yeah,
go
you
in
just wait
without
until
needing
play.
to roll for a check,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then hopefully take out that hero. It's just he's just there, kind of hanging out, and it means that it might put off someone putting in their big hero.
Yeah.
No, I think this is a solid list, Vincent, from you. Well done.
I would have liked to see a few more Kings.
You like
I'd like to
what,
see a
Dan?
Why
few more
that
Kings
sounds
Guard.
so patronizing?
Yeah, Ali, that was pretty
Just
rough,
Ali's
mate.
natural way of thinking.
Ali.
Yeah, it's natural, isn't it? Yeah.
Don't take it personally. Go on,
I
Sam. You
think
want to say?
I
You
was
like
gonna
to
say I'd like to have seen a few more Kings Guard. Like 7 is a lot, I will admit, but
I think
like
it's just with the points.
I couldn't find the points.
He's already
What
had
would
to
I have
leave the
dropped? Yeah,
shield off of Gilgalad already. So
yeah. I've taken the shield off. Obviously, you want to go for max bows. I don't even have a spear on the banner.
if you just had a whole line of Fight 6 like everywhere, that'd be so good.
Yeah, but where do I get the points?
yeah, you could go to 42 models maybe and do it. But yeah,
Maybe you drop Restore to a captain and then you get the points and then you get March.
No, Aristo's better. Captain's
Give
just
Gilgalad the crown, the helm of the dragon.
Well, captain with the helm.
Let's go.
The captain with the helm.
Captain with helm.
Right, well, on that note, we will move on from
Aristor is so underrated. Honestly, he racks up kills with those throwing daggers. Imagine him just invisibly just like throwing daggers like
just coming out of thin air with
yeah, it's out of thin air.
That'd be 11. Okay, we will leave it there for Vince's Rivendell list, and we will move on to Mr. Ashley Walker's list. Where is he?
Oh, I'm
He's put on
coming
the
back.
ring.
I'm coming back.
He's put on the ring.
Sorry, I'm just depressed about my list because it's bad. Okay, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Mordor not Saladin combination. We have a Witch King with a Crown of Morgul and a horse with 3 might, 14 will, 3 fate, 2 orc trackers, 7 mana orcs with shield spear, 1 mana orc with a banner, 8 black numbs, the Shadow Lord, 6 trackers, and here we go. Point sync, maybe we'll discuss. Kamal the Easterling with a Fell Beast. He has 2 Warg Riders with a shield, 1 without a shield, and a Morgul Knight. We then have the Gorban Heater with a shield. We then have 6 more Moran Orcs with shield spear, 6 black numbs, and Gurits with 2 orc trackers, 3 Moranans with shield spear, and 3 black numbs. Totaling up at 52 models. I do have 10 trackers, so 10 bows, 13 might, which is, I think, higher than everyone else I've seen so far.
Not mine.
And have we seen? Oh, okay, fair enough. And then we've got the Witch King with Anduril and Kamal on Fell Beast with Narsil.
Is that Anduil on the Witch King?
Exactly. Yeah.
Definitely
So
should
I
have
can
given that to
explain.
the coordinator.
I can explain that choice. When I was playing at Imps, I had a few opportunities, and also actually at G-Book too, where you manage to get off your compel with the Witch King or the Shadow Lord, or Kamal in this instance, and you're charging it with a bunch of troops, but the hero is D7 or D8, and you just don't roll those 6s to wound. Whereas my thought is, now with the Witch King, not only do I have an Elven Blade to help win those roll-offs, but also if I'm charging that compelled hero, he's trapped. He's going to suffer like substantial wounds because I'm only wounded on 4+s. And I just think it makes those magic plays when you need them to go off, they will.
Yeah, because if you have heroes live on 1 wound, no fate, which happens all the time,
It does
but
happen.
they're still alive.
That's what the Witch King does every day.
Yeah.
Especially heroes like the Dragon Emperor, or we're going to see.
Why not Durin's Axe? Then you get the reroll. You can piercing strike up to strength 5, and you get +1 to wound anyway.
What is with you and Durin's Axe?
True.
Generally,
It's true.
because it makes you more reliable at just killing troops anyway. And you can still get up to wounding most things that are D7 on a 4+ if you want to.
Yes, that's fair enough. Potentially oversight. I guess I'm just thinking about the Elven Blade. If I really need to charge the Witch King into something else that's fight 5, I have a better chance of winning against Fountain Court Guard or against I don't know, another fight 5 hero if I'm out of might. Just having an Elven Blade in the list
All I'm saying is
helps.
I would actually rather you had Jones-Axe than Andrew for when you charge into like my Vault Warden teams.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Against your Vault Wardens, I'm going to just be, cutting through butter.
So shall we move on to the main event then? Kamal on Felbeast. Did you
Yeah.
cast any magic with Kamal on Felbeast in all your games with Sam? Did
I've
you
cast a few spells. So
Dude,
just for
what spells
context,
were they?
we've played now 5 practice games, and I've managed to lose 3 and draw 1 with this list. So that's not going great, guys.
Sets the bar.
5 practice games.
Yeah, so one of the practice games I played Angmar. We swapped lists.
Oh, okay.
So Sam used this against me. I used his Angmar. He used my Mordor list, and Mordor lost again. So Mordor's record currently is 4 and 4 losses, 1 draw, which isn't great.
So anyway, moving on to Kamal.
Well, he is 190 points, and you give him Narsil, and the free heroic combats are really hard to get off because he only has 2 attacks, 3 on the charge, and he's only got 2 might. And there's been 3 occasions where you just roll like a 3 high or a 4, and you just don't have the might to spend, or it's not worth spending the might. If you're
And he's
charging
not going to
2
be a
models
major
at shield,
banner either.
it's hard to keep him in range of banner. Like, I have been trying my best. That banner is solely there to support Kamal, and it's really hard to get him because obviously you want to charge him at the flank of an enemy to hurl down their line. But
So really, as soon as Ash has dropped Suladan and gone down to a 3 each banner, this man cannot play
yeah,
MESBG anymore.
game's gone, mate. Game is gone. I think I'm still happy that I have the Fell Beast simply for. I mean, we haven't done a practice game versus Minas Tirith yet, or versus Glorfindel, for example.
Yeah.
Having the hurl is big. That's going to help against those heroes. But against Angmar, it's not good. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So this is a list where I think, I can't remember if it was earlier in the pod, it's been a long time, where if you didn't take the Witch King, you could give the crown to Kamal, and then suddenly he's a combat beast.
Yeah.
Because then
Then he
he's
does
actually
become
Gulliver,
really good.
basically. But then, I mean, obviously you lose a bit of your magic power at that point, because, I mean, you can make the Witch King into, like, the Undying or something like that, which may be what that list that we were talking about is actually done. I think you've got one too many heroes in this list.
Okay.
I know why you've got Gorbag because you love him, and I know why you got Gurtz because he's like March and a big hand. But I honestly think that you could do with an extra 8 models.
I think 200 points
6.
almost on Kamal is a huge investment.
He's 170, guys. Why? Oh, I don't understand where 190 and 200 come from.
Sorry,
that's
I'm just.
Ash.
Yeah, that's my fault. I'm just being terrible at maths. 170.
Still,
170
you
points.
could take, say, like, I don't know, Shagrat, who's still like an expensive hero. You could take Shagrat and still fit in more models.
And arguably, actually, Shagrat's very killy. Just as a treat.
Yeah.
At least I think
It's
this
the
is
fly
better than
monster.
It's better than your original idea of Shagrat with the ring and Narsil. This is a bit better than that.
That was a
If
good
you take
choice.
Shagrat, so do you give him Narsil, or what do you do with the extra piece?
No, I think you need at these high points. You do need a fell beast or some sort of tool to win you games because Shagrat isn't going to do that. As kind of me and Sam said, you need to make a play and win the game because you're probably not going to break your opponent. Your opponent's probably not going to break you because there just isn't time. And Kamal does let you do those plays, but Shagrat doesn't. I think
I would have gone with
maybe-
Shelob with the crown.
that would be hard. Thinking now you've put it like that, Ali, changing maybe to have the Undying and then giving Kamal the crown and going all in would have been better. Or maybe even just saving the 25 points from the Witch King, giving him 5 extra will and giving Kamal the crown, something like that might have actually been a smarter choice.
How are you
But
feeling about this list overall, Ashley, as you head into Unnumbered Tears? Final thought.
not great.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being bad.
5.
5. Okay. We will leave it there. Final thought from Ashley Walker. This may not be the last time we see Kamal in this episode. But we will move on for now to a fantastic, interesting, amazing list here from none other than James Goble, who does not join us tonight, which is a shame. But James is taking Riders of Aemir. For some reason, he is taking a Legendary Legion. I hope that you guys know why he's taking it and that someone can explain that. But anyway,
Because it's Beast.
it doesn't. Because it's Beast. Okay, maybe that's just it. But anyway, he's taken Riders of Aemir, 1,000 points. So it's 23 models. It's led by Aemir, which is a shame, who's on horse with shield and throwing spears. He's leading 1 Rider of Rohan with a banner and 4 normal Riders of Rohan. Then he has Gandalf on Shadowfax, leading 5 Riders of Rohan. He also has Erkenbrand on horse, leading 4 Westfold Red Shields. And then he has 6 captains of Rohan on horse. So it's 23 models, 14 bows with all the riders in there, and 21 might, which is
What was the need to violate Aemir like that?
At
the start,
you
He's
wouldn't
led
want
by
him to,
Aemir, unfortunately.
because you wouldn't want him to be your leader, right? You know, you want Gandalf to be your leader. But yes, what do we think about this then? What is James' thoughts? What's his game plan?
James is going to go in
about it. Yeah,
combat every. I mean, how many areas? What?
9.
Literally every hero. Every hero
heroes.
he'll do it with. And he's going to pierce. He's going to call his Sue ability with Gandalf the White. And he's going to try
What does
and
that
kill.
do? What does that do?
It's basically an old shade effect, -1 to draw rolls within 12 inches of Gandalf the White.
Gandalf.
So
So you put Gandalf in the middle.
Isn't it 4 like models that charged as well? It's like some extra stipulation, I swear.
there is another little thing. Yeah, no, I don't
I will look that up while.
But
I think you
yeah,
might be right. I think you have to charge to have done
he's
it.
going to kill basically
Or
4
Gandalf
models.
has to charge or something.
4 models with each hero. And that is 36 models, which would break quite a few lists.
Do you
However,
get the +1 to strength in this?
no.
Yeah, you do.
Oh,
Within 12
yeah,
inches of Aemir.
yeah, you do.
Do you get the +1 fight value?
No.
So your fight value for captains of Rohan are
Yeah,
going
it
to
Yeah,
goes up
minus
to
one to
win.
duel.
26 when he pierces.
Remember,
though.
that doesn't matter though, because obviously you get the -1.
Oh yeah, no, but I mean, you've still got 3 dice, and you're not a higher fight value than most of your opponents.
Hmm.
And you're only going to be left with 1 might after you called the heroic combat.
Yeah.
Gandalf
It's
just
a
needs to
total-
be. He just needs to be alive. Sorry, to call the thing, but that's it.
Oh,
No, but there's
No,
something
it's-
about you have to
you have
call
to
it
charge.
like
Yeah,
sorry,
there's-
priority
yeah.
or something, or
Need to have charged as well, and yeah, he needs to be alive. But that's it.
do you get to do it after priority or after?
At the start of any friendly move phase.
See, that's crap because
Yeah, because
then it might come down to a move off, right?
not
But
if
if,
you're good.
if James say wins a move off, he moves. Charge.
Oh
everything.
wait, so you do it
And
after
then
move
moves the
offs, and then
ability,
it's the beginning of
yeah.
your move.
But then if your
Okay.
opponent moves next, they can then obviously set things up in a way to obviously try and minimize the impact
So
of the Sue
Yeah.
play.
So you don't really have. I know you got a fair few bows, but it's not actually going to be earth shattering.
Nothing like though.
Yeah.
Man, I
That's
really wanted
way-
this.
Nah.
Wasn't convinced.
I really wanted this to be
Goebel's-
year of the Goebel.
Yeah,
This isn't
Goebel's
it.
gone. Rise of Fear would be a great anti sort of meta list for this event by just charging and killing everything before the enemy heroes get to do anything. What can I do to make that worse? I'll take one of the worst legendary legions in Riders
Yeah, he
of
was
Air
thinking
there.
it would be very anti sort of some of the top lists. Like we were thinking for a while that Minas Tirith would be one of the main factions, which it is. I think it was joint second, and he thought, you can pierce to strength 6 and then kill lots of stuff. So I think that was part of his.
I mean, this list could totally ruin some of the top players' days. If it charges in and has a really good turn, I mean, how do you stop it really, apart from
Well,
transfixing
you
Gandalf the
just
White?
deploy a front rank of like guys with just shields slightly in front of your main actual line. Then they have to waste like half of their might to kill it, or they're in a heroic move roll off.
What do we think this list goes? How do we think James does?
2 and 4.
I think three,
Uh,
three,
push.
How it is.
3-3.
3 at best.
Win-3?
Yeah, I'll give him
Yeah.
for free.
James?
Yeah, 3-3.
You're
I'd give it
nicer than I
3-3.
am.
Shout out, James.
If we're assuming Sam's getting a 3-3,
No, it'll be less than 3-3, but I'm going to be optimistic for James.
Yes.
It's just I mean, How many heroic combats off? Like he doesn't have any Wargear, obviously. So if someone does lose priority and he goes in, I mean, you can't afford to because someone's just going to hurl all your guys off and then you lose. So
If you think how
very
many Felbies or Sorcerer's Blasts that we've
yeah,
gone through already,
it's very niche
like,
when this ability is actually going to be good.
James just wants to go, right, I'm going to combat with that captain and also with this one and that one. And this
then
one,
you just take
and-
Riders of Theoden. If that's what you want to do.
I think he just likes
He's clearly not going
minus
to
one.
win, if we're being honest.
I can't wait for James to win. It's going to be so
But
fun.
what I will say is
No,
if
but-
you're taking this list, this is probably the way to build it. Is go
Nah,
There's a
for
compliment in there
as
somewhere, James.
captains. Yeah.
Take
It's
that
not
away
enough
from this
captains.
discussion. Yeah.
I
Okay.
hope he's got legit captain models and like
Does,
all of them.
does James like actually think this is good?
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
Conflicting opinions there.
Ash has probably been in the car more with him recently to events, so
So
Yeah.
maybe the
Go for
answer
it.
is no.
When well, so, like, for example, right, if you said, "Does James think this is good?" Does James think this can win the event? Absolutely not. Does James thinks that he could be beast and beat one of the top players of this list if the first turn just is epic?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's his goal, really, just to
It'll be really
Beats.
fun to use.
I mean, it may not be. It may just go horribly wrong, and then you
Yeah,
just
and
sat around for
and then
2
horrible.
hours waiting for everyone else to finish.
Yeah. If James
Or-
gets to sit around for 2 hours, he'll just be absolutely smashing beers. So he'll also be having a
Well,
great time.
You'll know that this game here will always conclude. There will be
This is-
no not
Yeah.
finishing of games. This game will end all the time.
Yeah,
So fair play. He gets natural conclusion, which is pretty lemon.
unless if he plays skirmish because he's got the blinding light and
He's not going to
bows.
do that. James is way too
No
impatient.
chance.
I
No
mean, he's
chance.
played Mirkwood
He's
Rangers.
got 21
so-
mine. He's gonna win there.
Yeah, no, he don't care. He's going
okay.
to go in.
We will have to leave it there for James's Rise of AMA list, and we will move on to the final list that we're going to be looking at.
Got another one.
The final one before we get into a very quick tier list. This is Ben Haslam's Easterling list. So it is a 48 model list led by the Dragon Emperor, leading 4 Eastlings with shield, 4 with pike and shield, 7 Black Dragons with pike and shield, and 2 Eastling Cataphracts, one of which has a drum. Then he has Kamul on Felbeast, so the second appearance. Then he has Ratabi leading 5 with shield, 5 with pike and shield, and 5 Black Dragons with pike and shield. And then Wargear leading the same, but with only 4 of each. So 48 models. No bows, 10 might. Obviously, he's got the drum, and he's given a Staff of Power to Wargear and Kamul Narsil, same as Ashley. So, what do we think of this? I guess the headline here is the Staff of Power on Wargear. Jay, have you spoken to Ben about this at all? Do you know his thoughts on this?
I think he just wants to have fun and just knock things over and just tremor people's elite armies.
Phrase being, he wants to have fun, not necessarily his opponent.
No, he wants to have fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
I think this is good.
I think it's quite solid though. I quite like it.
When I used it against Sam, genuinely really, really, really good. However, you should have put the crown on Kamul,
Yeah.
1,000%. I mean, in the group when we were discussing it, I was kind of, this is before I used Kamul. I was team, oh yeah, no, split it up. Kamul is only having 1 wound and 2 fate. He could whiff and just instantly die. Like, why would you waste both your pieces of Wargear? Well, because without the crown, he just doesn't do anything anyway. So if you're going to take him, you might as well boost him up.
I would argue, I kind of agree, but in this list especially, there's an argument not to take Narsil and you leave the Staff of Power Boga and you give Kamul the crown. Because then you've got someone who can cast. He may have slightly worse casting values, but the rerolls kind of sort of get you out of the hole of that one. And you're not getting the free heroic combats, but Kamul then is a reliable, like,
I don't think you'd be that aggressive though.
counterpiece. Yeah, no, you wouldn't. But you've then got a reliable sort of when you need him, can jump behind the line
Yeah, I think
and
I
do
think
the
I like
thing.
I think I like the crown and Kamul better.
The thing that I didn't quite grasp when doing the selection of what my pieces of Wargear would be is that Kamul's special ability affects his stats. So
Yeah.
with his special ability and the crown, he has 3 attacks. You then boost those attacks up to 4, and
Yeah.
then he gets a charge bonus. So he goes to having 5 attacks on the charge, which is
Yeah.
like so substantially better than just the 2 up to 3.
So this Kamul is still slightly better than yours though, because of where the Dragon Emperor's got a 12-inch banner. So he will be getting the extra reroll pretty much all the time. So he's gonna have, what is it? 3 dice at worst if he gets charged, 4 if he has charged.
Trouble with this is this Kamul will be transfixed like quite a lot by the casters.
Which I guess is another thing where the Staff of Power would have helped. They're not Staff of Power, the
Crown.
Yeah, the rerolls are really big for something like Kamul. Especially because he gets will back.
And kind of like
Crown's amazing at Kamul. Yeah, that's definitely
kind of like the 5, like Staff of Power is quite cool on Wargear, but it's only a 1 in 3 chance that he ever casts the
But
tremor,
actually, you then can use 2 dice pretty much every single turn with Brogear.
Yeah, that's
at that point. So you've actually doubled the amount of successful casts you're probably going to have with Tremor.
Yeah.
And even late, you probably will be all right.
I think as well, it's quite underrated. Like compared to the Ministerial lists, for example, where yes, you've got some D7, but you've got Rangers and things as well. Like this is a 48 model list. Everything is D6 or above. You've got the drums, so you're fast. It's lots of high defense, and even without the staff and Narsil, obviously the Dragon Emperor is really, really good. Just with the Dragon Emperor, so the fact that Ben's got extra tricks on top, like I think Eastlings is a really solid pick.
Oh yeah.
So Eliott, how would it work if Brogear rolls a 6 to cast using a point of will with the Staff of Power?
Well, if you roll 4 natural 6s, I mean, you get 4 points of will back now. That's how it should work.
So what if you use a point of will with the staff?
With the staff,
do you get a 3 point of will?
Yeah,
you could just accumulate will if you roll well enough.
I would say so, Vince. I think so.
That's pretty beast.
One other thing I think we should mention is, how there's so many Narsils running around?
Yes.
Master of Battle on a 3+. I know Tavi isn't the killiest model of the game, but positioning her may be a bit of a pain in the arse, and she can just
when you
grind
blade
through
whack
troops
her,
and stuff like that,
and stuff,
which you can do every single turn on a 2+.
Yeah.
Much.
Did anyone bring Azog to this event?
I think
I saw one.
Oh no, I don't think I saw an Azog's Legion. Actually, no.
But yeah, no. So I think this is low key better than it looks.
Oh no, this is genuinely strong.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah,
there's not really anything wrong with it. It's quick because it's got the drum. It's got a little bit of magic, not loads. It's fight 5. It's D6, and the model count at 48 is fairly healthy as well.
Yeah.
Well, going back to your thing about Master of Battle, though, don't ask Ben how many 3-ups he rolls though.
If he plays me, he usually rolls them all. But
screaming it through the monitor right now. Yeah. Okay, well, we will leave it there for Ben's list, and we shall move on to the tier list. We are going to do the most rapid fire of rapid fire tier lists here. We have a minute tops on every, because obviously there's almost another 10 minutes. So anyway, people who have never seen our tier lists before, if you are the very best list in the tier list, you aim to be in our lemon category. And then descending down from there, our categories are titled Silly Nervous, Nervous, Dog, and then Ashley Wargear yet again this week because we couldn't think of anything else. And Ashley didn't win a practice game with his list. So
we did think of other things, but Eliott vetoed it. And his
guys, help the channel out here. Clearly, we're out of ideas. And also, I'm just getting bullied. So help me out and get me off of a bottom tier.
Anyone has some suggestions? We have had some sympathy that I've used from viewers in the past, but no one makes it this deep into the podcast to hear this and then actually suggest something. So that's all the issue we run into. But anyway, we will kick things off. Minute timer starting now for Vince's Rivendell list. Where is this bad boy going?
Bottom of Silly Nervous.
Yeah, done. Next.
Bottom of Silly Nervous. Happy with that, folks? Jay? Yeah.
Yeah.
I like agree with that. Cool. Okay. Ben Haslam's Easterling list with Kamul, Dragon Emperor.
Above Vince.
Board.
Below Vince.
Yeah, I'm going below Vince.
Above Vince.
Below.
I'm going above.
Kamul's not good enough to go above Vince.
I think
non-ironically.
I think mine's is better, slightly.
I think it is actually slightly better because of.
So
you don't have March though, do you?
No, but I've got Kiernan.
Yeah, he's got
Finland doesn't do what the captain does, though, I'm afraid.
Yeah, he's got.
We were picking up how good Oral Command is.
Who fucking knew that Kieran plays the same role as a cat?
I mean, to be fair,
Pretty much, he makes up
Going
having no March.
it
Yeah,
kind of
no,
it
I think
doesn't.
Ben's is more flexible. I'll go Ben higher.
Yeah, of the march point, the drum march.
I tried,
But he
Vince, but
doesn't
you
have-
convinced me
doesn't
out of
have
it.
march. The drum.
Ali,
Ben,
Ali was
as
batting
we've
for you
said.
there, Vince, and he cheated.
The fact that the games aren't going to end, all Ben has to do is drum onto the objective, and then just the game won't end and he'll win. So sorry,
Okay,
Vince,
Ben's going
although I think
above.
your list is better.
Moving on to
Ben.
Sam Grattan's Angmar list with a
Lemon.
big bat.
I don't think it's Lemon.
No, I don't think it's Lemon.
No,
I
this
think
is...
Gully's going to fail ring checks and he's going to lose.
I think.
Unfortunately.
He won't.
I'm
hope
trying
you
to
don't
because
sell
when I
King
compare
One,
it to a
then
lot of
Ben.
the lists that we've got on here, other than the Mordor list, I don't know whether it would always beat them in a head-to-head reliably. I think it's somewhere in the middle of Silly Nervous, but I don't know where I want to put it above.
I think it is still really good. I don't think it's.
Yeah.
It's probably it's the top of City Nervous.
I think it's above Ben.
I think it's above Ben and Vince.
Yeah, cool. So we've got 3.
Yeah.
4. So
Yeah.
That'll do that. Okay, moving on. I guess we should do mine and Jay's Minas Tirith lists. What do you think on these?
I reckon Jay's.
I'm going to say, even though I think it going in, I thought it was going to be one of the best lists.
Yeah, I
actually
think it might be
it's
nervous.
Yeah, I think it's top of Nervous just because of the amount of like there's a lack of strong underbelly in it.
Is that a laugh from Sam?
Yeah,
God,
Sam's
everyone
chucking
was
away.
so worried. Like, oh my God, Gandalf the White should be so.
I know everyone was literally
And we're
saying
putting
for
this-
like
we're
months.
putting
No,
this-
actually,
Oh my God,
We're
Gandalf.
putting them at 3 and 3.
Yeah,
But when you
I
look
actually
at
kind of
it,
agree. I'm not.
It's once I've seen the list, it's there good. You've got
Yeah,
the
when you
elves who are
actually
going to
look
be
at it,
in
like,
combat because
yeah,
of their
the
Not that
fight
scary,
six
is it?
or
Is
Elven
low.
Blades.
no, it isn't
Not
quite
that
as.
scary, really.
Yeah, I
The
agree.
model count is low.
And yeah, I would go top of Nervous for both of them, and I'd probably put Jay's higher than Elliott's, even though he doesn't have much, just because it's so much
More
harder to
planning
kill.
for more models.
Mm,
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
Sam,
I think
with the laugh there, where do you think it goes? Do you think it's higher?
I'll put it below Vince. Actually,
What, in Nervous or
Which one do you
Silly
think's better?
Nervous?
I
Because
prefer
I think-
Eliott just because of March.
Yeah,
I'm
I
thinking
think
about
that's-
where it goes more
I
than
think
like.
Nervous. I think we've all agreed, but both are
Yeah.
nervous.
I mean, my vote doesn't matter. It's clearly fucking 3 and 3 shit. So
I'm the host, Jay, so I'm afraid I will be.
No, nervous doesn't mean 3 and 3.
no, it does. It's middle of the road, mate.
Yeah.
James is
No,
Doesn't mean
sorry.
3
I
and
will-
3.
James is this
I'll
is
be
going to be higher than that.
I'll be the gracious host, and I shall put you above Jay.
No, Eliott, no, go on.
No,
It's fine.
that's fine.
Well, James is
nervous.
top of nervous because this is going to go 3 and 3 as well, right?
James's list. James and me have been traveling to lots of events together. Let's be best friends down on the bottom tier because
Yeah.
although this list is fun, it's gonna
It's
not do
winning the
well.
event.
Send James down.
Is it going dog?
No, it's
No
going
way.
Ashley
He's
Wooga.
gonna be with me.
This goes in Ashley Wargear.
I think
Ashley
this is better than Ash's
Put
list.
James is entering Ashley Woogler.
This is better than Ash's
What
list.
the
Change my
hell?
mind.
James Coble and Ashley Walker. This might be a first.
Put it this way,
You
every
would-
list here could potentially win the event apart from James's.
That is shouting out my list harder than I would have
Are
thought.
we joining
I meant-
Ashley Walker? Are we putting Ashley Walker in Ashley Walker tier for the first time?
No, I would still
No,
put
no,
him
Ashley-
No, no.
Ashton nervous.
Nervous,
Nervous.
nervous.
Yeah,
Nervous.
Bottom of nervous.
This is dog. This is dog.
I mean, using it, I think it's dog.
It
Being
can't be that
frank.
bad. You've got triple wraith.
It's still Mordor.
but
It's
you've
still
only
got
used
the
it also
Gorgon
against the list
leader.
that we think are better as well.
That's true. That's
True.
true.
Yeah, but every list is better, so it's always going to do work. Like,
Still got Harbinger, Black Nuns, Crown of Morgul. Like,
Yeah, and it's still got a lot of magic and
no
like
16 fan out.
Kamal will actually have a game where he doesn't fluff it.
Really OP.
So
Okay, moving on. Finally, Ali King's dwarf list, turning things
Oh.
off and then standing
above,
there.
above me.
Nervous.
No, I
it's
think
not above.
It's not above you, Sam.
I
It's
think it's
above
above.
me.
no.
I think it's better than
between Vince and
Vince's.
Ben.
Please,
Yeah,
please,
exactly the
Vince and
same,
Ben.
Jay.
please don't put me top. Please don't put me top. I don't want to be top. Please put him above.
we put in a top of
No,
nervous?
Sam,
Is
you're
that
top,
what-
No,
mate,
no, no,
unfortunately.
I mean,
It's your destiny.
above
Lord,
Vince,
I
below
hate
Ben.
being top.
It's your
I hate being top.
destiny.
I'm gonna win. I'm finally gonna win.
Right, we're
Do you
coming
know,
back to
I'm
Ali's
actually-
list. Where are we putting Ali's list?
It's my
Ali's list goes
time.
between Ben and Vince, definitely.
Between Ben and Vince.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there.
ironically, I think I have a better chance against Ben than I do against Vince. But like, I think the thing with my list is it really will depend on some rulings by the TO. Like,
Even
Ali,
more
you'll win games by sitting there and doing nothing.
I know.
People will not
Exactly.
kill you.
But there's no other win
Yeah.
condition.
Yeah, but that is the win condition. Like that is such a good win condition to have. It's
Sure, in 2.5
I will
hours,
often break
1,000
my
points, yeah.
opponent as well.
That's true.
like it's by far you genuinely don't realize how good City on
So-
objective and
so last
usually
year-
models will win.
Last year, out of 1,000 points, I didn't get broken once.
Yeah.
And I took 16 Volt Warden teams.
Was it the same timer on the round last year?
Yeah.
So
It is, but you don't factor in how much more thinking you're like, oh, I've got all these
with
special
all the
tools
extra
now.
specials.
Because everyone's thinking, basically, over 50% of the player base are thinking, okay, now I'm doing a free heroic combat every single turn that I didn't have to think about, that I've never had to think about ever before.
Yeah. Genuinely,
Yeah.
Ali will just win games by existing. Put him above me. It would do better than me, I promise.
Is it because you don't want to
No,
have
Sam,
like
we
the
are-
No. Leave
we are
it
leaving
as
you there
is.
in the top spot, my man. Bring it
Okay.
home for us. But
Let's
Ali,
put Sam in lemon. Let's do
No.
it.
it's not lemon.
No,
Lemon.
it's not
Lemon.
not lemon worthy.
so Ali's list has ended up in silly nervous in between Ben and Vince. So I think that is going to do it. I'm a little bit surprised to see mine and Jay's list quite so low. We didn't think, obviously, when we thought Minas Tirith would be super, super good, but just obviously when we've seen it play out, maybe it's not actually going to be that strong.
Mm.
I'm thinking that I'm going to do even better than I expected in this list, because every time we've ranked Jay or we've disrespected Jake Mawson's list, they've gone and won the event. So I'm feeling good about my chances now.
Ash, you're not winning the event with that list, mate. Come on. Go.
One thing I will say though is we're all actually quite close together, which probably shows if you take pure armies and don't do allies, that
The game
even
is
with
balanced.
funky gear
Balance.
Yeah.
at higher points as well.
Yeah.
That is a good sentiment to end the podcast on.
What a beautiful message, Ali. Well done.
although
Hear,
obviously, half the event has had their pure faction add in, Narsil and the Crown of Mordor and all those sorts of things, just to tie.
If everyone's got it, does it make a difference?
Yeah, we will find out.
That's why you didn't take it, Ali, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. Well, on that note, we
viewers,
wrap
let us know below what list you think is the best.
let us know in the comments. But that is going to do it for now. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching another episode of the Gollum's Gamers podcast.